Hey y'all, it's Fabricator General. Just wanted to give y'all a quick rundown of how the tournament's going to work for this year. Let's start with the group draft. Prior to the first round of competition, an offline group draft will be held, and on Saturday, July 9th, those groups will be revealed. 8 groups will randomly select one player from each of the 5 draft pools, which contains players of similar SRC ranking or personal best time. Pictured here is what one round of that draft might look like, with players from one draft pool being distributed amongst the 8 groups. Some accommodations have been made for players with availability limitations. Like last year, the first round of competition will be a group race format. Each of the 8 groups will conduct 3 races that will include all 5 racers. Points will be awarded based on individual finishes, with 4 points for first, 3 points for second, and so on. The top 2 highest scores from each group will advance to the next round. Any tiebreakers will use average race time. Players are then reseeded for round 2 based on their round 1 finish. Round 2 will be a continuation of the group race format. The 16 qualifiers from round 1 will create 4 new groups with 4 players in each group. Players will be seeded based on their scores from round 1. Once again, each group will conduct 3 races, and points will be awarded in those races using the same point scheme from round 1. This time, however, only the group winners will advance to the next round. The final day of competition will see 4 remaining players compete in head-to-head bracket-style racing. Runners will be seeded into matches based on their finishing scores from round 2. Both the semifinals and finals matches will be a best of 3, while the third place match will be a sudden death match or best of 1. Unlike the group rounds, which have a 15-minute time limit, runners in the final rounds will compete until the game is beaten. The winner of the finals match will be crowned the 2022 NRL champion. Hello and welcome, friends, to the 2022 NRL Finals round. Today we crown a champion. We started with 42 runners. We had qualifications and narrowed that to 40. Round 1 narrowed 40 down to 16. Round 2 we narrowed 16 down to 4. And this is our third and final round. I'm joined in the booth today by Pensive Moose, who is hot off of an 11:44 PB. How you doing, Pensive Moose?
I'm doing so great, Fab. It's awesome to be here with you. The man who started it all, in case you guys hadn't heard yet, we are only here because of Fabricator General. This was his idea to begin with, and to be here with you specifically is really cool because you're responsible for all of this at the end of the day, as in addition to everyone else as well, obviously. But I'm just super honored to be here and super excited to commentate on these finals. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. In some ways, I'm happy I'm not here because now I get to commentate it. So it was a win-win situation for me, for sure. Either I was going to be in it or I was going to get to commentate, and I get to commentate. So that's good. I'm super excited. I hope everyone in chat is too.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm completely hyped for this. I gotta say, you were one of the ninjas there in chat when we were all talking about this on that stream that one day. And huge shout outs to Seamless Link and Black Squall and Retrofile TV, all runners that were there in that chat on that day, and none of this would have happened without y'all. So I really appreciate it. All right, well, let's transfer over to the race screen here, and we will get our first races going. Our first bracket is going to be between KB and the Retro Runner. Moose, how you feeling about this? Who do you have? Do you have a favorite here?
Well, it's hard to pick against the world record holder. It really is. I know TRR is just on the edge of his grind here. He's definitely going to be taking a huge break from this game. Whether or not that break is permanent, we'll see. He definitely claims it's going to be, but regardless of that, he's still really good. I mean, he's still just very, very good. And the thing is, he's going to be faster than KB in terms of quick climbs, in terms of bosses, just on average, I would say. And so KB, in order to catch up or keep up with him, is going to have to play really solid in the levels. Hope that Retro Runner makes some mistakes. And, you know, really the key about racing is that you can only control your own fate. And so what that means is you need to play well at all times and wait for your opponent to slip up. And I think that's going to be KB's strategy here, just to play as consistently as he can and wait for Retro Runner to make those small mistakes that tend to happen when you're really nervous.
You know, that's a great point. That is a legitimate race strategy. It's something that I utilized when I was trying to race, is just be as consistent as possible and make the other racers beat you, make them have to win that race. And that is probably a good strategy for KB. It's difficult to know what KB's best race time is. He's got a SRC PB of 11:44, which he got about 2 weeks ago, so he's fresh off of personal best. But his personal best in race time GG is an 11:35, and that we all know is not accurate. So I'm not quite sure what his best time is, but I do know Retro Runner's best time in race time GG is an 11:42, and that is incredibly fast.
Yeah, that is super fast. And let me just say that KB does have a lot of race experience. According to our race time records, he's either the first or second most experienced racer, something like that. So he has a ton of racing experience, which I think has really helped him get this far in the NRL. He got this far in NRL last year too, which is kind of crazy. He was in the final match last year and is now in top 4 this year. So I think that he's here because he's just been known to not only be a consistent runner, a very experienced runner, but also he's known to be someone who races a lot. So I think that's going to give him perhaps a slight advantage over Retro Runner, who hasn't raced quite as much. And in terms of KB's race PB, it's going to be 4x for sure. I'm almost sure that he's gotten a 4x. At least on no reset runs, he definitely has, obviously. But I would say in races, he's probably gotten 4x before. And we could see that today. We can see KB get a 4x. We can definitely see that, you know, for sure. It would be difficult, I think, but it's definitely not impossible.
Agreed. All right, so the 15-second warning was given. You'll see here there's going to be a little delay, and it looks like the delay was on Retro Runner's screen. What we're doing today, since we only have 2 runners on the screen at one time, is we're able to sync the 2 runners together. So whoever starts first, you'll see their screen freeze, and then you'll see it unfreeze when the other runner gets back to them. And the point of that is to try to get these 2 runs as close as possible for y'all as far as viewing goes. So that you can really tell without having to think about a delay how close the runners are to each other. So looks like we're pretty well synced up. They both hit the 1-1 door about the same time.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little exciting because it's just so much easier to tell who's ahead, who's behind. And also, you know, only watching 2 runners, we're not going to miss anything, hopefully, which, you know, with 4 or 5 can be really difficult. So we're going into 2-1 here, and I can speak from experience with a runner that 2-1, Act 2 in general is just brutal because it's the beginning of the race and your nerves are so high. And once you get out of here, you might calm down a bit. But at the beginning, at least in my experience, it was always very nerve-wracking.
Agreed. Yeah, that possibility of a God Hammer at the end of 2-2 is just looming over you throughout the stage and every single race. Not to mention just all the pits that you and all you have to deal with, and the bounce house here, which you see them moving through right there. Nicely done. But so, word on structure for today. This is a bracket structure from here on out. You're going to see 1v1 for the rest of this tournament, and each race from here on out, or each pairing, I should say, is going to be a best of 3. So they're going to run. There's no 15-minute time limit anymore. They're going to run until we find a winner each time. The only exception to that is the 3rd place match, which is going to be a best of 1 sudden death round. So that will only be 1 race, and whoever takes it. Wow, Knucklebuster there, foregoing the fire shield and going low percent. That is a move.
Yeah, you know, I think he did that intentionally. If I saw it correctly, it wasn't that he missed it; he just went for it intentionally. We'll see how much. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if KB has some fun with this and how many things like that he continues to do. And those two last Hammer Bros both threw for both of them, which means that they're on really good pace right now. In terms of split time, it's going to be like a 2:42, possibly a high 2:41, but probably 2:42, which is really, really good for a race. I mean, KB had one slight movement error, and besides that, they're really fast right now. And I think Retro Runner got a 2:41 possibly. They're going very fast. This is like technically PB pace for both of them still, I would say. Maybe not Retro Runner, it's hard to say for sure, but definitely KB, this would technically be PB pace. So they're playing really, really well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, KB, I like to call him the Sultan of Swag or the Professor, and it'll be interesting to see what he chooses to mix in and what he chooses to leave out. This is a very competitive race, and if it were me, I can't imagine foregoing any safety in the name of swag. But this is KB we're talking about, and so it'll be interesting to see. Looks like maybe Retro Runner, what do you say, like a half second ahead at this point?
Yeah, something like that, and he's going to get some more time here because he's able to get the double bird boost. If you miss the second boost, you lose a very small amount of time, and just like I thought, Retro Runner is going for the Bumble Tumble, and KB is not opting to just jump the... Okay, he took a pause before the jump. I don't know if he was doing that before in other races, but that is a safe shot you can do to not die there. Let the others back.
Yeah, it looks like Retro Runner gets the standard kill. KB a little bit slower. Probably evens out the time save that he got from not using the Bumble Tumble there. I know that the Bumble Tumble is about 0.3 seconds slower than using that sort of safety pause and jump strat. But I bet he lost that back by not getting that standard kill. Ooh, that hammer, that mummy right there is another good place where if that mummy wants to throw a God Hammer, it's just all over. Looks like they both made it through.
Yeah, for sure. And if you get a 405 split, you get that aggressive hammer, bro. And that's a perfect pace to be on a race because you're just slightly behind what would be a PB pace. So I'm not surprised they got that hammer, bro. Like, they were frames off from getting God Hammer there. Like, truly, they got pretty lucky and able to squeeze through, which is really good. And, the thing is, Retro Runner is just slightly faster on so many areas, not making those small mistakes, able to get a true standard kill while KB had to go for a slower backup. So KB, like I said before, is just going to have to play the best he can and wait for Retro Runner to make a mistake. It's just slightly faster in every single way.
Yeah, absolutely. Those climbs at the end of 4-1 were impressive. They were very, very well done. Looks like maybe a second and a half to Retro Runner at this point as they go into 4-3. You'll see him clip up this ladder here. Nicely done on both accounts. Retro Runner had a Stanley Slash came out there and ended up having to redo that boost, and he missed that tempo there. That's going to leave him 10 Nempo behind going into the rest of the stage.
Retro Runner has been fast in many ways, but KB just has to play clean and wait for Retro Runner to make a mistake, and that's exactly what's happened here. And so now KB is in the lead, and Retro Runner is able to make it work with the low Nempo. But KB, this is a sizable lead. This is nothing to scoff at now.
Yeah, it looks like about a 3-second lead, and that, like you said, that is nothing to scoff at all. An amazing amount of time saved just by movement.
Yeah, one thing I will say about Retro Runner so far in this NRL is that he's had some amazing times. He's had the best times in the whole tournament, but he's also every single time, I believe, has had one race that wasn't even a sub 12. It was like a 12OX, maybe a 1210, something like that. So KB can definitely beat him in a race because Retro Runner has made some mistakes throughout this tournament. But the thing about KB right now, honestly, that he's on pace for his best race time by far, I would say. He's playing really fast right now. It's really good. It's really impressive to see. And I know he's going to be happy with his performance so far. He just needs to clutch it out and end up with a really good time.
Yeah, as far as KB goes, I think maybe other than that slight movement error in Act 2, I think the only reason why he's down a little bit at all and missing the standard is the only reason he's down at all is just he's got an incredibly active Hammer Bros. thus far, but looks like he's still marginally ahead here. He did not go for the double bird boost, it looked like, at the end of 5-1, and TRR, I think, has taken a slight lead because he did manage to get that double bird boost strat.
Yeah, he did, and KB went for a safety windmill star at the beginning of 5-2 with that really annoying White Knight guy, so he went safe there. But now it's pretty much neck and neck at this point. It's going to be really exciting to see what happens. Yeah, KB's going to go for a safety Bohan drop, I think is what we call it, and he's going to miss the Janet boost, which obviously is going to lose time in Retro Runner.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably back by about 2 seconds at this point. It's very interesting to watch this, just going back and forth by small margins over and over.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be disappointed with this race so far. I mean, that's why they made it to the Final Four. They're really good runners. I will say Retro Runner has tons of Ninpo. He came into 5-3 with 60, and KB came in with 40, so KB's going to have to manage Ninpo. That's an easy thing to do, but it does make the race somewhat nerve-wracking when you have to do some different strats to conserve Ninpo. But he's making it work because he's a professional.
Yeah, indeed, that low percent knowledge is going to come in handy here. I'm sure his technical skill with only the sword and managing to do those cancels, although it looked like he was able to make it through without having to use any other strats. I'd say probably 2 seconds behind at this point as we see the malt. Nicely done.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, we can't complain about what this race so far. It's been really clean. Now, the thing is, though, like I said earlier, Retro Runner, on average, is going to be faster than KB on the bosses. He could be over 3 seconds faster on Jackio alone. Probably more than that, to be honest, around 4 seconds faster than KB if he gets a plate kill. So what that means for KB is that he's going to have to catch up here somehow. And he's just going to have to play as clean as he can, and again, wait for Retro Runner to make some sort of big mistake. Because if they go into bosses at the same time, there's a pretty good chance Retro Runner is going to pull out the W, but we'll see what happens.
You're right. That's a really great point, that essentially anytime you go into Jackio matched up with Retro Runner, you're likely to lose 3 to 4 seconds, because so far I think he's 100% in races on that plate kill. Knucklebuster had a little bit of difficulty in 6-1 with the cannon, had to throw a star, and that put him a little bit behind as well. I think maybe, again, still a second or two behind at this point, maybe even less. Retro Runner looked like he clipped through that ladder and fell back into the prior screen but didn't die. Did you catch that, Moose?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He got really lucky not to die there. That's not something you could easily control. If you clip, you're pretty much at the game's mercy. And KB's going for Ed Finney, and he's able to get it. Wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I heard he went for it in my race. I never went back and saw, but he told me he was going for it, and I was like, by all means, go for it, because if you die, that will make me happy as a racer.
Yeah, absolutely. As a competitor, you want to see your competition have to go for Eggs Benny. Such a risky strategy. But I mean, as you can see, he's miles ahead now. I mean, he's a good... KB is pulled back into the lead. This is exactly what he needs.
That's exactly what we said. He needs to be able to play cleanly and wait for Retro Runner to make a mistake. Now, KB has his opportunity to win this race now. He just needs to play the bosses very cleanly, and it's going to be close. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Retro Runner could miss his first plate kill. Who knows? We'll see. Anything could happen. He's KB down to 1 health, but able to make it through cleanly. He could be just far enough ahead to clutch this out with a good pair of bosses. This is going to be crazy. It could be a retime.
This is going to be incredibly close. If everything goes as we assume, Retro Runner and KB are likely to come out of Jackio almost completely aligned in sync.
Well, KB's going to get the 2.5 because he jumped He jumped off the wall, did extra hits. He usually gets a 3, but he's able to get a 2.5. I didn't even see what happened with Retro Runner, but he did not get the plate kill.
Yeah, he did not. I couldn't see if he went for it or if he had to go for a backup. I don't know what happened there.
KB had a rich kill pattern, but he didn't get it, and he gets the kill, and that's ahead. That's really close. On stream, KB's winning, but there was a very little delay. I really think KB probably won. So we'll see. They might have to frame count it. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do in the broadcast room, but that was crazy. It looks like KB most likely won. They both got a sub 12, surely. I wasn't really looking at the timer, but that was a crazy race. Wow, how impressive was that?
Unbelievable. I'm being told that Knucklebuster's time was an 11:49 and that Retro Runner scored an 11:51. We'll have to confirm those, but so far that looks like a win for KB.
That is crazy. And like I said, KB could get a 4X, and that is, I think, by far his fastest time in the NRL by perhaps 3 seconds, something like that. That is awesome. KB, I mean, he's got to be so pumped. I mean, not only did he get a 4X, he was able to beat Retro Runner in this first race. And you know what that does? That gives him so much confidence heading into race 2. Just allows him to be less nervous. From my experience, like, if you have a good race and something good happens, it just boosts the confidence so much, and your nerves are able to cool down a little bit.
Unbelievable. As you guys can see, so we don't have a result screen today because we're just going mono here, and you can see Knucklebuster has that spin slash icon right next to his name there, and that's going to denote a win in his column. And I'm being told we are 99% sure that that was a win for KB. It was a close race, but it doesn't look like it looks like all the splits were accurate. So that's gonna be a definitive win for KB right there. It looks like Retro Runner going back through the lead in to the Jackio kill here. You can see on screen getting some practice in. I wish I had seen what happened there, Moose. I don't know if he just failed to hit that first jump or what happened on that plate kill.
Well, he killed Jackio in the center of the screen, and it came from the left side. So my guess is that he got a 2.5 cycle backup from the plate kill movement, which means that their Jackio times would have been exactly the same. Now, a plate kill over a 2.5 cycle would be about a 3.5 second time save, which means if Retro Runner had gotten the plate kill, the demon times remained the same. They would have been very, very close to being tied. So, I mean, a plate kill, getting that plate kill could have won. Just to put it simply, not getting the plate kill kind of almost ruined it. I mean, KB could have died a demon. He was very close, but man, that's gotta suck. And I don't think Retro Runner is gonna worry about it too much. He should know, in my opinion, that he's still a very good runner, obviously. And with him getting 4x times nonstop in the past during NRL, he could pop out 2 11:45s, two in a row, like no problem. I think if he's able to maintain just peace and calmness, if he's able to stay calm and play the game, he could easily just win these next 2 races very easily. I would say. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean I'm being told that he missed that turnaround on the plate kill, and had to go to the left wall for the backup. It does put him in a hard position though. He's now he's got to win the next 2 in a row. But you're exactly right. An 11:51 for him is plus at least 15 seconds off of his PB time. So that's he's capable of much better, and we've seen him do much better in races and no reset runs. So still obviously can't count the man out at this point.
Yeah. Another thing too, I know the way he's going to feel, because he messed up the boost at the beginning of 4-3, and that boost it's very easy, and it's a beginner strat. I mean, anyone who runs the game does that strat usually. So the nerves just got to him, really, at least on that part. He did a Stanley instead of doing a spinning slash. And man, I get really annoyed easily doing races, because when you're so nervous, you do the dumbest things, and that's a perfect example of just how nerves can really just destroy a good pace because you do something really silly like that. But again, the key for Retro Runner is to remain calm and just be confident in his abilities and to get this race finished. And the thing is, KB, compared to Retro Runner, the consistency hasn't been as high during NRL. So although KB did just get 11:49, it's going to be hard for him to do that 2 more times, or even 1 more time. And so if Retro Runner can just perform well, it might be hard for KB to keep up, is what I'm trying to say, because KB has not been quite as consistent during the NRL. But the confidence and hope for KB is a lot higher now, and he's able to calm down a bit if he was nervous during that first race, which I'm sure he was, even though he didn't really show it. He played very well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. He's managed to put the pressure on for sure. He did exactly what you said. He ran a consistent and fast race and just had and relied on Retro Runner making a mistake and running a slower race. And that's exactly what happened. So now the pressure's on the Retro Runner to perform twice in a row. He's got to win these next two. And we're about 30 seconds out. I just gave them the 30-second warning, so we should be starting here shortly.
Sounds good. So in this race, I have to say, in the first race, just with them being so close the whole time, we may not see that this time. We may see a bigger mistake happen. I was genuinely impressed with how well they played in Act 2, to be honest. They were on very, very good pace out of Act 2. We could easily see someone with a sizable lead out of Act 2 if nerves get to them and they make a bigger mistake. So we'll see how this goes. This may not be quite as close to the first one. It could be just as close. We'll see.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think their strategies are going to change at all, or do you think this is just more of let's run the same race that we ran last, and whoever does better is going to win? I can't imagine that they'd change much, but I wonder if KB has anything in that last race that he would pull out now that he's got a margin of safety. If he's got, maybe he pulls out that Eggs Benny. Maybe he says, you know what, I don't need to go for Eggs Benny anymore. I've got a W in the win column, and now I can rest a little bit and be safer. There's no reason to lose this next race just because I'm trying to gain another half second or so. What do you think?
I don't know, man. KB is he's confident, and I think he's going to go for Eggs Benny. To be honest, I don't think he's going to take it out. I think when you get to a certain level and you start doing strats like that, once you figure out that once you gain confidence in a certain strat, the best thing you can do is maintain that confidence and continue going for it, in my opinion. I think KB is at that level with Eggs Benny. He doesn't have misplaced confidence, you know what I mean? And I think he should continue to go for it just because that's his plan. And I don't think he should change his plan. I think he should stick to it.
That's a really great point. Not only about confidence in that strat, but in a way, if this is his strat, if this is his race, he should keep going on. It's clearly working, and if he goes for a fast run and loses, then he's got one more shot at it. He's bought himself a little bit of leeway here. And so maybe he should just turn on the jets in this second race, because if he's able to go faster and win it, then he can win it in two. And if he loses this race, well, then we're just back to square one, and we just got one race left. So, he can actually maybe the right move is not to rest and not get safe, but actually to pull out a little bit more, and maybe we see him go for riskier strats in the second race.
Yeah, for sure. And Retro Runner making a mistake there, missing the star throw, that's the nerves. I really feel like that's the nerves getting to him. I know that feeling. I know the frustration that it can cause. And I think for me personally, it was at times really hard to keep going. I mean, you don't have a choice, really. You have to keep playing. And it can be really hard to make a mistake like that and decide to keep going and stay focused. That's what Retro Runner's going to have to do. And I think he's going to have a good chance to make up time at some point later in the stage. But like I said, we might see someone behind after Act 2, and that's what we're seeing here. Retro Runner is going to be behind by a second or two, something like that, just because of that mistake he made with the Swag Star.
Yeah, that's it. You're exactly right. It's interesting when you run races more at my level of talent and you make a mistake early on, it feels pretty bad, but you've got a pretty decent chance of winning it back because there's a lot of leeway, in the 12-minute PB range of racers. But I think, you make a mistake early on against, and your competition is Knucklebuster. I'm not sure that margin of error is there. That's got to feel even worse because you're sitting there thinking, gosh, I'm 2 seconds down already. And 2 seconds just decided this last race, which, by the way, we have the official frame count, KB 1149.52 and Retro Runner 1151.30. So definitive win there for KB.
Yeah, good. And we're seeing once again that Retro Runner is going to get some time save by getting the double bird boost here, and KB did not get it. So, Bathiker is a really good opportunity for Retro Runner to make up some time. We'll see if KB could get the standard kill here, because, he is good at the standard kill, but Retro Runner is perhaps a little bit more consistent. So let's see what KB is able to do here, and let's see what Retro Runner is able to do.
Yeah, interesting. We saw Retro Runner there foregoing the Bumble Tumble and going for that pause strat. And again, Retro Runner pulls out the standard kill, whereas KB does a little backup, and they look like they're almost completely aligned at this point. Maybe KB ahead by milliseconds at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I said. I mean, the same thing happened as last race. They were able to, Retro Runner was able to make up some time thanks to their standard kill. And just like that, we're back in it. And again, with this race, the delay is going to be very, very minimal. So what you see is what there is. They are very, very close. And we can't say, they're so close that we don't really know for sure, right? And but that's pretty good. And so we're at the same point that we were last race. We're going into Act 4. They're neck and neck. And so let's see what happens here. Act 4, in my opinion, one of the easier stages in the game. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I can get through Act 4 without making any terrible mistakes. And so I hope that's what we see here.
Gosh, those climbs from Retro Runner were just lightning fast. I think he made up time. He had to have made up time there on that 4-1 ladder. That was incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks like KB out of Nimpo here.
Yeah, he didn't grab the 5 Nimpo that you traditionally grab before the bridge. So he went on the bridge with just 5. And that's not something scary to him. He's a low percent world record holder. He knows how to handle that situation. In the end, he only lost time from a knock forward. That's it. And so that's 0.2, 0.3, something really insignificant like that. So this time they're both going to get this boost, which is good. Although KB lost a slight amount of time, they're still neck and neck with Retro Runner having only a slight lead at this point.
They're so incredibly fast. The movement speed on both of these guys is just incredible. It's really hard to fathom. I found out around Ninja license time how much movement speed matters in this game and how much time I was missing out on just because my movement was sloppier than it could be. And it's incredible to watch runners of this caliber go at it, because they are just spot on with everything they do.
That's sort of the interesting thing about races, is that when you're at this level in PB runs, you're going to play very tight. You're going to jump as soon as possible. You're going to cut a lot of corners really tight. And in races, it can be tempting to do that because that's what you naturally do. But you can also sometimes get screwed by that, because then you accidentally die by not jumping, for example, when you're trying to jump really late. And so these runners are just so consistent, they're able to still make it work even while doing some high level movement and cutting some corners very quickly and things like that. And they're both going to get they're not going to get it. Retro Runner had a pretty jank setup there with a double bird, so he's going to miss it this run instead of KB. And now KB is going to make up a bit of time because of that double bird miss.
Unbelievable. They just keep trading by a second. I mean, so far throughout this tournament, we had so many deaths early on in round 1 and round 2. We had, minute plus margins between runners. This is the first time we're seeing races like this, I think, where it's just back and forth, neck and neck the entire time. KB taking a slight knockback there. That might equalize their times here. Look at TRR actually ahead by about a second or two at this point. I'm not sure if he made another error or if it was just that knockback. Oh, he's having issues though. KB having issues with that health grab as well. And missing Janet.
Again.
Wow, that's going to put him pretty far. And you got to wonder at this point too if which one, if either of them are monitoring the cast, if they have an idea of where they are as far as where the other one is and how far they're ahead or behind.
Yeah, I can say with a lot of confidence that Retro Runner is not watching. That seems to be something he's not a fan of doing. And I don't think KB is either, to be honest. I don't think he prefers to watch the races while he's doing them. I do know that KB, not only is he behind, he's very low on info, so he's going to have to figure out how he's going to make this work. And he only has 5 going into the second to last screen here.
He does an interesting wow. I've never seen that boost off. That's incredible. Does the cancel there at the end? Well done.
That's so impressive. I mean, I've been around a long time, so there's a lot of low percent strats that I recognize, but I have also never seen that. That was super cool.
Yeah,
we've
I see
said so many
Bumbleton in
times.
chat. They're saying that it's a pacifist boost, so that would match up. He's got those pacifist strats.
That's so impressive. That makes way more sense. 'Cause I was thinking, like, why would you do that in low percent? But that makes way more sense. That would be a pacifist boost. We've been saying a lot that we expect people like KB or Edo to do something impressive, some impressive pacifist or low percent strat during a run. But to be honest, I think that's the first time where I've seen something and I've been like, wow, that's really cool, like during NRL. So that's awesome. But he's still behind. I mean, that was a cool trick and all, but he is quite a bit behind now.
Retrofront getting a really unfortunate hammer pattern there. It looked like he went into the 6-2 door about 4 seconds ahead of KB. Not sure if that's come down a little bit since he had to pause at that hammer bro there. As you can see them moving through, both get the Rocket Ninja boost.
Yeah, the Rocket Ninja boost is really scary, in my opinion. But when you're at this level, you can probably feel pretty confident about it. Retro Runner taking that knockback. That knockback is over a second loss. That's pretty brutal. Yeah. But yeah, he needs to maintain composure here.
You're getting knocked back in the air, which is over a second, and you go back to the ground. You got to jump back up to the platform and back over. It's got to be at least a second and a half.
And look at this, KB going for Eggs Vinny, but not getting the setup right. The poached egg, is that the right part? I forget. But he messed up Eggs Vinny and ended up having to go for the normal exit boost. So, Retro Runner, they were close, and now Retro Runner's going to have a lead again because that Eggs Vinny, Knuckle Buster, choking a bit on the choke pull. This is looking really good for Retro Runner. He just needs to not die to beef mod boost to this hammer bro as well, and if he has his normal bosses, he could definitely just take this race right here, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. This is his race to win for sure right here. He's gotten himself a comfy lead. Oh, has to make it through that hammer bro. That hammer bro is active, and that is scary. They both got that same hammer bro at the end of that stage.
That's how the game works. You get there at a similar pace, you get a similar hammer bro pattern. It's cool to see that actually play out. They both got the same thing there. That's cool. So KB having really low health, making it through.
Golly, that's a great point. It's interesting to watch two runners go at this with similar global timer patterns. Let's see if TRR can pull off this plate kill. Looks good. Nice.
He sure can. Look at that. This is going to be a great lead. KB beating a 2.5 cycle again. Oh, yeah, that's my fault. I messed it up. He had 3 hits left to get a 2.5, and I totally jinxed him. That's my fault.
I thought he had that as well. That might be commentator's curse right there. Retro Runner pulling out the win. Nicely done. We go to a third and final match. This is going to be sudden death.
Yeah, this is great. And according to what I saw on stream, Retro Runner could have 11:45, but we'll see what the official time is. Oh, KB dying to the demon.
Oof.
Yeah, he needed one more hit. He had like 5 hits left, and he went ham trying to get them, and he ended up dying. And you know what? When you're only racing against one person, you might as well go ham at the end right there. But at the same time, you don't know if Retro Runner's way behind, so maybe that was sort of risky. But I'm not surprised KB went for that because that's kind of what he does, I think. But in the end, it doesn't really matter because Retro Runner definitely won that. I think Retro Runner got 11:45. According to the broadcast room, we're getting about 11:45 for Retro Runner, and of course KB is not going to finish. I think he knows that once he had died, that was pretty much it. So yeah, it's really exciting. One more match.
That means KB was probably on another 11:49 pace, though. I mean, he was right there with him, maybe a couple seconds behind Retro Runner going into the Demon. So, 11:49, 11:50 pace for KB as far as going into that Demon room. Really, really consistent runs.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what we're seeing from KB here is just clutchness, like genuine clutchness. I know he died there, obviously, but what I'm trying to say is that he is playing more consistently in the Final Four than he played in either of the first 2 rounds. He got 11-4X, which he had not done yet in NRL, and then he was on pace just now for another one. And so he's playing much better than he had before. And so this is really exciting. It's fun to see him show up and play so well against the world record holder in Retro Runner.
Yeah, so It's interesting you talk about, I think you're probably right that neither of them are probably watching the broadcast, and this is so close that with the delay from the broadcast, I'm not even sure it would make any difference for them if they had listened to it, because by the time they're both going into the demon room, they're both around the same time. So I'm not sure it would actually make any difference to either of them, but it does make you wonder, like you said, if Retro Runner had died several times or something like that early in the race, and KB had then died to the demon, and had he known something like that and instead been able to cut the tail, that's definitely an advantage of being able to listen to the broadcast. And but at the same time, that just increases nerves for so many people, and a lot of people, including myself, would rather just run in a vacuum and just race your best race and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a what's the word for it? I'm forgetting. But when you watch the races, it could hurt you or it can help you, and you're basically rolling the dice, because if you see that you're behind, it's like, oh man, doesn't feel good. It makes the nerves worse probably. But if you're ahead, it's like, oh, now I feel a little bit better. So it's like it's a win-lose situation. Either it helps you or it hurts you. So I don't know. I don't know many people who actually like watching the races. I think it's it's much more common to just race in the vacuum, like you said.
Right.
So this last race, I don't know. I'm feeling like the nerves might be high at this point. I think maybe KB, I think we might be back to race one where there are probably equal nerves or something, because with being a sudden death, like you said, it's basically 0-0 right now. And it's basically back to square one, just one more race. And we'll point out that if Retro Runner had 11:45, that's only 1 second slower than KB's PB. So, like I said before the second race, if Retro Runner can just get a solid 4X, it's going to be hard for KB to catch up. And that's exactly what happened. He got a 45, and it's going to be hard for KB to beat that. So Retro Runner just needs to get one more solid race. Somewhere in the 4X range would, I think, almost guarantee him a win here.
Yeah, I think you're right. And just huge props to KB for, raising the level of his game, when it matters most. He's really performing well, and giving Retro Runner a run for his money. It can't be easy knowing you're going in to race the fastest runner in Ninja Gaiden right now, the world record holder. And so far, he is really putting the pressure on Retro Runner. And it's fun. It's interesting. I love watching the chat. These runners will chat with each other during the races, and it's really cool to see them. They're incredibly respectful to each other. They're both talking about how nervous they both are. So those nerves are both there for each of them. But it's really cool to see. There's a lot of goodwill from both of them, and they are. It really points at the positivity of this community and the support that these Ninja Gaiden runners give each other all the time. They're both backing each other up here in the race chat. It's cool to see.
Yeah, Fab has a little a peek behind the curtain, so to speak, because he's in the race time chat with our runners here. And boy, am I happy that KB made it into Final Four over me, because he's playing so much better than I would be able to. Because he's just so much better at racing, and it's just been at this level much longer than I have, obviously. So I'm just very happy to see how well KB's doing. And do I want to see an upset? I mean, sure, who doesn't want to see an upset? But I think I would love to see Retro Runner in the finals, especially if Arcus makes it through. Obviously, that would be an amazing matchup. But if KB made it through, that would make it somewhat exciting, because everyone loves when the underdog wins. So, I'm not going to say I have a preference one way or the other, obviously, but I'm looking forward to see how this third race goes. Because the first and second, just, man, they did not disappoint. Just so impressive the way these runners have been playing.
Yeah, with the pressure of the third race coming into play here, and the way that the first two races played out, this is just going to be incredible. I mean, I can't imagine. Like you said, the race nerves are always there. Your first race is always the hardest. And when you're going in a best of three against, the best in the world, or one of the best in the world, there's got to be so much pressure there. But this is for everything. This is, whoever wins this takes it and moves on. This is going to be incredible. I'm really excited to watch this last race.
Yeah, me too. It looks like we have the 30-second warning out. That was a bit ago, so I think we're going to be starting really soon, just a matter of seconds. These runners will both be racing. They're going to do the same things they were doing the rest of the races. There's going to be no change in strats, I think. Obviously, KB might pull out a passive strat again if he has to. That would be cool to see. But I think besides that, everything's going to be the same. KB did miss Eggs Benny because he missed the setup. But he's going to go for it again. Just knowing him, there's no reason why he shouldn't. He's going to have confidence in himself as he should, and he's going to go for Eggs Benny. And I think everything else will remain the same too. KB has missed a standard kill 2 times in a row. Retro Runner has not missed it either time. So, we'll see how many of these things continue to be the case. There's been some trends in the first 2 races. We'll see just how different this one is. One of those trends was both of them having a pretty solid Act 2. So we'll see how that is. Also, Act 1, they have not messed up, which is not surprising. But I know in the first 2 rounds, Act 1 was not perfect for everyone, myself included. So it's good to see that they're doing Act 1 really well. No Lazy Tysons, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. No problem there. So
yeah, that Lazy Tyson always looming large. Yeah, you never know. It's such each act has its own danger for races, and Lazy Tyson in Act 1 is definitely no slouch for that. It feels so bad to get the Lazy Tyson and go into Act 2 already 3 or 4 seconds behind. So nice that they both got it. And you made a great point earlier about backup strats, being able to see KB using that pacifist strat in 5-3 in that last run. That amongst the many benefits of races and tournaments that we've extolled, and the whole reason why NRL exists, that was amongst those benefits, was being able to put these runners in a position where they have to use those backup strats, and they have to use that sort of intuition and second by second changes throughout their run to adapt and overcome challenges they get on suboptimal global timers. And that's really cool to see. It's one of my favorite parts of this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it shows just how knowledgeable certain runners are about the game and how knowledgeable other runners aren't. When one of my races, I had to go through 5-3 low percent. I had a strategy going ahead, but it was not a very good one, and I got destroyed. So you got to see just how bad I am when it comes to that sort of thing. KB obviously being on the opposite spectrum, knowing a lot about the game, so that gives him an advantage, like we said so many times. And so far, Act 2 has been pretty clean. KB made one tiny mistake, but this is a good Act 2 for a race so far. Really good.
Yeah, it looked like they came into Act 2 exactly synced. I mean, it was as if both screens were coming out alive at the same time. I saw Retro Runner got a little bit better free fall, and I guess KB may have made an error there. I must have missed that one. Oh, KB getting that hammer, but works his way through it. No big deal there. At least it wasn't the God Hammer.
Yeah, Retro Runner was also frames away from getting the God Hammer. It just missed him. He walked right under the hammer, and if he had been there a few frames sooner, it would have been a death probably. I'm really glad that didn't happen.
Amazing, we're dead synced again.
Yeah, look at that. This Act 2 wasn't as clean as the first 2, I think, maybe a little slower, but it's still a good pace for a race, I would say.
Yeah, I'm being told by the race mods looking at their splits that they are dead even on splits as well. So they are just completely in sync at this point. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, I don't know how many times I need to say it, but KB is playing much better than he did in the first 2 rounds. I mean, he played well in the first 2 rounds, don't get me wrong, but this is like a whole nother level. If he's able to maintain this pace and get a really solid time in this race, then he should be really proud of what he did, regardless of whether he wins or loses. He's just playing so well, and he might have a bad race. Yeah, he might have a bad race this race, but still, he's played really well so far. He should be really proud of what he's done.
I agree. No matter what happens in this race, KB has got to be happy with himself, no matter what the result is. Oh my gosh, Retro
Runner died. No.
Wow.
That is sad. He paused And I don't, this is why I don't do the pause strat. I think he got a pattern where you can still die. I don't think the pause strat is foolproof. And I think that he got a pattern from that dude and he got knocked off. He died. And that is so much time. That is so much time. Wow, I know he must be.
KB would have to die multiple times at this point. Wow, because that's a good 40-second time loss if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so much time. Wow, and that pause strat. I didn't see exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure it's not foolproof. You can still get a pattern that you die from. He could have also not jumped late enough. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on that strat, but wow, I think it's so much safer to just jump very late, especially if you've been running this game a long time. If you jump late and really pay attention to what you're doing, you'll be fine every single time. But the thing is, Retro Runner does the butt clinch cliff, so he's not really used to having to do that normal jump late strat, whereas KB is not doing butt clinch cliff. So that's crazy. That's just crazy. And like you said, it's going to be really hard for him to catch up at this point. But he needs to keep playing his best, because you never know what could happen. I mean, KB died on the demon because he went a little too ham. So
yep, exactly.
It could easily happen again.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
If that were to happen again, TRR's got to run his way back through this. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and KB doesn't know. I mean, he's probably not watching the races. I mean, I think he said he was be doing it anyways, because he kind of does that sometimes. But if he's not watching the races, he has no idea. So if he continues to go super ham and die somewhere, like, who knows what could happen? I don't know. I hope something happens so to make this closer, because it's hard to see Retro Runner die in such a way. This would end up being a funny end if they both just had like a much slower time, but they were still really close.
Right, I think I'm trying to think of the only other place that I can think of that's almost as bad as dying there in a race is dying to the double bird boost in 5-1. That's a pretty significant time loss as well. That if he did that, that would definitely give Retro Runner the ability to catch back up if he runs a clean race from here on.
For sure, and the easiest way to die to double bird boost is hitting the bat. If you don't hit the bat, kill the bat properly, I think really good players, that can still happen to them, but I mean, KB he's so consistent. We'll see. He's coming up to the bird boost. He might just play it really safe and not even go for the second boost. If he doesn't have a good pattern, he might just throw the windmill star. And he gets knocked back here, so he might be throwing the star. Yep, sure enough. Yep. He got a bad pattern because of a knockback. He throws the star, and he's safe. Wow.
Yeah, makes it through. For those of you just joining us, this is a best of 3 match. This is our first match of the night. Retro Runner has 1 win, and Knucklebuster has a win as well. This is the 3rd and final match. Retro Runner took a very unfortunate death at the end of 4-2, and I'm sorry, 3-2, and now is probably nearly a good minute behind.
Yeah, man. Know how many people have taken that death at the end of 3-2 in the NRL. It has not been that many. I know someone had. I think Joker might have because he did butt clinch, and someone else might have died to butt clinch. But man, of all people to die at that cliff, it had to be Retro Runner in the final round, and that's just unfortunate for him. The KB, he's slightly low on info and he's low on health here, so
very low on health.
He could die, but I mean, the reality is, if he dies here, he doesn't lose that much time depending on exactly where it is. He can get through it low percent relatively quickly. So if he dies, that would be good for Retro Runner, but it may not be enough.
I think we'll definitely find out if KB knows if he cuts the tail. I think that's the big one is when he goes into that final boss room, we're going to find out whether or not he's been watching the broadcast, because if he has, he's definitely cutting the tail. I got to say that.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, KB being the great runner that he is, he makes it through no problem, even on such low health. So Retro Runner is running out of time. He needs KB to make some sort of mistake here, but I don't know if he will.
Yeah, I mean, thus far, KB has just been on the top of his game. He's been unrelenting this entire time, and nothing has changed thus far. It's interesting going back and thinking about this. Retro Runner, the first race, did the Bumble Tumble, and then in the second race, we saw him use the pause strat. And I wonder what caused him to change his strategy in 3-2 at that butt clinch cliff there.
Possibly nerves, just not feeling like, I don't know, something might have happened and we missed it, but it could have been nerves. But I don't know how much Retro Runner has done the pause strat. I think probably even before he did butt clinch cliff, he probably wasn't doing the pause strat. So it's probably not something he's done very much. And I think it was probably a mistake to try to do it in a run. I think he should have done the Bumble Tumble or just jumped late. And it's an unfortunate thing to happen, but I think, to be honest, as good as Retro Runner is, he doesn't have as much race experience as someone like KB. And I think that if he had done a lot more racing, he probably would have known, I can't really change my strats like that. Otherwise, I could end up just getting myself killed. So, yeah, I don't know.
It is a very good point to make. You know, when we were doing races earlier, that my strategy there was to do the Bumble Tumble, and if I messed that up, wow, KB going for Eggs Benny and hitting it. But I was doing the Bumble Tumble first, and if I messed it up, then I was going to the pause strat. That was sort of my backup to the backup. And I wonder if he just thought, you know, KB is so fast. He's getting such close times. I can't lose, you know, any extra time. And so maybe that's why he cut Bumble Tumble out and decided to use the pause strat. I don't know, but it definitely you know, it's a great point to make. KB came into tonight with 166 races logged in race time GG, and Retro Runner came in tonight with 8 logged on race time GG. So a huge discrepancy between race experience between the two.
And look at KB going for fast B-Fob, even though he always does standard. This guy is just going off right now. I don't know what he's thinking, but I'm not surprised at all that he would do something like that. But he went for fast B-Fob, and he never goes for fast B-Fob. I'm telling you, that's not normal for him. What a guy.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he doesn't know that Retro Runner is this far behind, which means he's probably not likely to cut the tail. He's probably likely to go for a tailless kill. And if we have another result like the last race, TRR could still be in this race.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to watch closely here what KB is going to do. I don't think he's going to kill the tail. I think he's going to go for it, but I don't think he's watching. Let's see.
Yep, you're right. He's going to go for it.
Mess with the tail timing. Oh,
he's going to get it. Wow. KB takes it.
KB Knucklebuster takes it over the world record holder, the Retro Runner.
There's your upset.
There's the upset. And you know, like, as good as Retro Runner is, I think everyone acknowledged that this was a possibility. The chat is going crazy right now. They are super hyped to see this upset. You know, Retro Runner, you know, he might be upset. I mean, I know I would be, because everyone expected him to do, probably to win. I think Retro Runner still did very well, but man, just that one mistake is really what cost the whole entire group. For him to lose the whole entire race, to lose that part of the bracket. So, wow, that is crazy. GG's to Knucklebuster. Everyone get some hype in the chat for him. I know you guys are going crazy. Keep it up. And wow, just our first episode of the day. I mean, maybe we'll see another one. That is just so exciting to see.
Unbelievable. Yeah, an 11:53 for KB, a 12:39 looks like for Retro Runner. GG's to Retro Runner, ran really incredible races, but Knucklebuster just could not be stopped tonight. He is absolutely on top of his game. I mean, he is under pressure and he is performing even better because of it. I don't know that we've ever seen him run such tight, fast races. He is just all over this tonight. Incredibly well done.
Yeah,
you're going to see race results coming up here. And you can see up top, you can see the round 2 results there. You can see how we got here. In fact, coming up next, we've got Edo and Arcus. And Edo just barely edging out Knucklebuster from round 2 results. You can see there the averages are a second apart. We literally had to go back and frame count every single run that they did from round 2 in order to find their average time. They were so consistent. But as you can see from tonight, Knucklebuster just knocked 15 seconds probably off that average race time tonight. So he is all over it. Again, GG's to both our runners here. What a result.
Yeah, just incredible. I mean, everyone just has to be really impressed with how KB has done, and just doing so much better than the first round and second round. He didn't summon Befob Ghost, like he did, I think, in the first rounds. He's taking it a bit more seriously this time around. I don't know, just something in his mind. I don't know, he just clutch, or he just figured out how to remain calm, or maybe he's just now deciding to take things seriously because he's facing Retro Runner. I don't know. He did something, and it was able to pull out some amazing times just now. That's crazy, and this is just getting started, guys. We still have to do the other semifinal match between Edo and Arcus, and then after that we have third place race, and then we have finals after that. So we still have 3 more matches left to go. So be sure to stick around to see some more hype races.
Indeed. We're going to go to our Be Right Back screen so we can set up the next capture for Edo versus Arcus, and we'll see y'all back here in a little bit. are back. Again, finals, third round of the NRL, third and final round. This is our second bracket match. First race between Arcus and Edo. We're about to get underway. The 60-second warning is out. Pensive, how are you feeling about this one, good sir?
I'm feeling like it's a lot like the first match, because what we have here is an established legend of the game versus someone who is also very good but has a lot of knowledge in other categories. Edo, of course, being the pacifist world record holder, sharing that with KB at one point, and going back and forth with him, knowing about low percent, damage list, which people seem to forget about. He's has a run in damage list, so he knows so much about this game, facing an established legend in Arcus, who obviously needs no introduction. So it's interesting. It's interesting how similar this is to the last match. I don't know whoever wrote the scripts for the NRL did a really good job with this one, because they are just so similar. And obviously, if Edo defeated Arcus, that would be an upset, just like we saw with KB. I think a lot of people would love to see Edo and KB in the finals. Why not get the two guys in there that no one expected to win? But we'll see. You know, Arcus has been playing really well in the NRL. I would say he's been skipping the tail a lot, and I think he probably needs to not do that in this round. But we'll see what he does.
You know, speaking of NRL script, I think if Edo wins this and we see an Edo KB final, we flip the script and make the first race any percent, the second race low percent, and the third race pacifist. What do you think?
Hey, that was literally my idea too. That I was literally, you and I are not the only ones who thought of this, I'm sure, but I agree.
It would
100%.
be amazing to watch, would it not? I mean, it would totally mess them up. They're not prepared for that at all, but it would be a really fun watch.
It would be so much fun. It would be. Maybe we can have a thug finals, which usually is after the real finals, where it's like they just do an extra race for fun. Maybe they can get them to do that. Probably not, because for Edo it's like 3 a.m. or whatever. But that would be so much fun. Unfortunately, I think they would have to do 80%, but that would be fun too. But let's see how this goes here for them.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Looks like Arcus may be a second ahead. I don't think we got the sync totally right there, but pretty close as far as that start goes. Yeah, hearing that it's a little bit less than a second on Arcus being ahead on the sync.
Cool, sounds good. So another similarity between the first match is that Edo has not been perhaps living up to expectations for the beginning of the NRL. I think he's played really well considering his condition, having to just play at a really odd hour since he is obviously in Thailand. He's played really well considering that, but I think he could do better, and I think he has to do better against Lucas. So I'm excited to see him improve, just like KB improved. I think he's another person with so much experience in this game. He's been running this game for many, many years. I don't think people realize just how much of an OG he is. So I think he could pull it together, upsetting Arcus here, just like KB did. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Edo, as you said, lots and lots of deep knowledge and experience in this game, responsible for a lot of interesting strats. He's a creative speedrunner in that a lot of his streams, you go on there and you see him and he's just figuring out new strats and messing with new ways to get through the game. So he has a really deep and extensive knowledge of how to get through here. And as we saw with KB, if he gets in trouble, I'm sure he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve to get his way through.
Yeah, 100%. Edo is the mad scientist of the Ninja Gaiden community. That is the best way to describe him. He does do the strat. He's going to have to do low percent here because he missed the fire wheel. Let's see. He's able to get it. Of course, I'm not surprised. That last jump isn't too hard, especially if you have done it many times in low percent runs. Now, Arcus, we don't want to take any focus off of him. Obviously, again, he needs no introduction. He is a legend in this game. Obviously very much responsible in a way for just the community that we have, just bringing so much attention to the game. And he plays really well. And in the NRL, he's had a lot of sub-12s. I don't remember if he got a 4X. I don't think he did. But honestly, the only reason he hasn't yet is because he's been cutting the tail on the Demon. And I don't expect him to do that in the final round. And I think if he doesn't cut the tail we could definitely see some 4Xs, which would be obviously very difficult for Edo to beat, considering that Edo's PB right now is 1155. So the gap between Arcus and Edo is bigger than the gap between Retro Runner and KB, in my opinion. So Edo's gonna have to play really well and wait for Arcus to make some mistakes, but we'll see. I mean, Edo is believe it or not, Edo could PB here. That would be crazy, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. He could definitely PB. His skill level is so much better than what his PB says.
Yeah, as we saw with the round 2 results, Edo having an 1155 PB, his round 2 average was 1209, and that is incredibly tight. It's a 14-second differential between his best time that he's ever gotten and the average of his 3 runs from round 2. That's incredible consistency right there. See, Arcus actually had a little bit of issue with that gunner. He's gonna, I think, with the lead that Arcus had as far as the broadcast went, they're probably completely in line here. They're probably dead even.
Yeah, and so what we saw is that Edo did not go for the bumble tumble, and he did the pause strat at the cliff, but he didn't do a pause, he did a standing slash, which might actually be more safe for that particular strat. Again, I don't know that much about it personally, but I think Edo is going to have much more experience with that pause strat, and he's going to be able to do it more safely. And Edo actually got a pretty fast standard kill, and Arcus did not. And look at Edo here, not doing the in% route, doing it a little bit fancy with the swag star. Look at him go.
Wow, he missed the bat boost there though, got knocked back, got pretty lucky, and stayed alive. Good climbs from both.
Yeah, for sure. Edo is very good at climbing. He really is. I don't think he goes ham on climbs as much as some other runners, but he's consistent with it, and he can do them pretty fast. And look at him go. Look at this. Look at this.
There's that swag star back. That's so much fun to watch. Building Nimpo, going through this stage. It's a really interesting way to run through the stage.
For
and
sure.
It's kind of nice because it lend him some extra Nimpo going into 4-3, which can be useful in that you don't have to do as many cancels.
Yeah, he's going to have so much Nimpo. And in case anyone's still wondering, that was completely intentional. He did not miss the spin slash. Edo was definitely doing all of that on purpose. I'm not being sarcastic in case you're still wondering. That was definitely intentional. Edo's doing it the swag way and really not losing very much time at all doing it that way. Like maybe 0.2, I don't know. Every time you throw the star, you have to pause a little bit. But I'm imagining the time loss is just very insignificant. But what we're seeing here is that Arcus is still playing just more clean overall, and that's why he has a bit of a lead here.
Yeah, Edo used that same swag star strat in round 2 in our last round, and that's a lot of fun to watch. It's an incredibly swaggy star, and here you see that he gets to use just the regular spins to get through the end of the stage. No need to use cancels to save a little bit of time on the back end.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And so Arcus is going to have a slight lead here by a matter of little over a second, I think. And again, with their PBs being so far apart, the reality is that when they both play clean in a race, they could be neck and neck like they are now. So the PB isn't indicative of how close they could be in a race, obviously. But we'll see how they're able to finish the race, because that could obviously change a lot here. Edo's going to go up the pillar instead of doing the normal strat. The way he went up the pillar was pretty good. Honestly, he'd probably save a little time over Arcus there, possibly. We'll see how the double bird boost goes here.
Really like that Arcus star that he throws there on the top of that platform. You get not only the health, but you kill everything in your way. It's a really cool star. We saw X Christine and Arcus use that in the last round, and that was a really, really cool star. Really cool race strat being used right there.
Yeah, it is cool. And Edo did go for the double bird boost, but got an early bird, so didn't save the complete time, but it still was a time save. And Edo, like KB, was going for a safety swag star in 5-2 for that enemy that you see up top, the white knight dude. So playing some safe strat, doing the spin there for the bat. And I did that as well, just because I was really nervous about jumping into the pit. So playing it a little safe, only wasting 5 Nimpo, but it's really not that big of a deal. Lucas going into 5-3, getting Janet boost, and with 16 info, he's in a really good position here.
Yeah, Edo missed. Edo did the Ohan drop and then missed the Janet, so he might have lost another second or two. I think he's about 3 or 4 seconds behind at this point.
Yeah, Edo is playing really well, to be honest, but the reality is that Arcus is just playing slightly better than him. And so Edo's going to have to keep it up and wait for Arcus to make more mistakes. But so far, that's not happening. So far, Arcus is just playing slightly better, getting more strats like Lemon Drop and Janet Boost. I mean, together, those strats save quite a bit of time. Like, that's not an insignificant amount of time saved. And Arcus almost
it was interesting. On that on the Lemon Drop screen on 5-3, Arcus had to, I don't know if he saw a bad hammer, but he ended up having to do a Stanley Slash, and then he ended up doing the up and over strat. He usually does the Lemon Drop, but he had to Stanley Slash that hammer bro there, which might have just been a safety issue, and then decided to go up and over. We're gonna see here. It looks like about 4-second difference between Arcus and Edo at this point.
Yeah, my apologies. I forgot Arcus did not get the Lemon Drop that run. You're right. He did have to do the up and over. And so this is, again, more similarities to last match. Arcus, not as consistent with plate kill as Retro Runner, but he has the potential to get plate kill, whereas Edo, I think Edo might go for center plat strats, if I'm being honest, but it's going to be hard for him to get the plate kill just because of less experience. And so if I'm Edo, I want to be ahead of Arcus going into bosses because there's a good chance that Arcus will have faster bosses. And so far, he's getting a little bullied here by these hammers and the enemy, so he's losing even more time. So Arcus
a little
just needs to
knockback
not
there.
die.
Yeah, Arcus probably took about a second or so loss on that knockback going to the platforms, but he reclimbed that ladder pretty easily and got back up without an issue. And we'll see him. He's doing some safety climbs there. It looked like those were Edo with some incredibly fast climbs. He definitely made some time up on that ladder, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And to be honest though, the time save from those two ladders is still going to be less than a second, if I'm being honest. Not a significant amount. Well, maybe closer to a second. It's hard to say for sure, but he's going to need something more, is what I'm trying to say, in order to catch up.
Looks like he has closed the gap a little bit. He was 3 seconds behind going through that 6-3 door. Arcus took a knockback from a bad hammer there, so Edo might have closed this gap a little bit further, maybe 2.5 seconds at this point for Arcus.
Yeah, so if this case remains the same, then Edo's going to have some good bosses, and Marcus is going to have to perhaps have some slower bosses than normal, which is not impossible. I would say I think it's possible that Arcus might have to do a pretty slow backup for plate kill, but he could also just as easily end up with the 2 cycle, which would be really fast.
We see Arcus there got caught up on that the wall for a second as well, not used to doing that safe flip-flop method there. And both of them deciding to forego the pickle boost. So we're seeing some safer strats, looks like, in these runs than what we saw in Retro Runner and KB. But let's see how they do going into Jackio. Looks like Arcus going for the plate kill. Starts off, misses the turnaround. Let's see if he can get the backup. Nice. Oh, wow. He's still got 1 hit left. Oh, he's getting chewed up by these fireballs.
Wow, so that's a slow boss, but Edo went for center plat, but he didn't go for the approach hits, so it made it a bit slower. I think that might have been a 3 cycle. So Edo is going to save some time here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Let's see what Arcus does on the demon. He's killing the tail!
Cut the tail! Oh my goodness, this is risky. This is very risky. Edo's clearly skipping it. Oh wow, that is incredible. Oh my goodness. They finished very, very close.
So on the stream, Lucas definitely finished first by less than a second. But I don't know. The delays, there was a delay. There was absolutely a small delay, and we don't know for sure. Wow. I think Arcus messed up the head knockdown, and that made him nervous. I think if he had gotten the head knockdown, he would have jumped the tail. But I think messing up the head might have made him nervous, so he went for the tail kill. That might have cost him the race. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, so our race mods are saying we got a 12:02 time for both runners, so they're going to be frame counting that one to find out who won.
Wow, a 12:03 for both. So we have to frame count to see for sure. Man, wow. Well, honestly, I'm still surprised Arcus went for the tail kill. I have to say, that's so much time. So if you kill the tail, you don't have to move for any shrimp at all. That costs 5 seconds, which is a lot of time. It's very unlikely that shrimp doesn't come and hit you. So it's honestly usually on average more than 5 seconds lost if you kill the tail. And going into Jackio, Bill was about 5 seconds behind Arcus, like very close to 5 seconds behind Arcus there. Kill, man, that might have just ruined it for Arcus, but we'll see. He could have still won. So we have to see.
That's a big loss. 6 to 8 seconds or so from killing the tail. That's a lot of time to waste here, and we'll have to see if if that last run changes his mind. If he looks at that last run and says, okay, Edo is too fast, I can't keep killing the tail. I'm gonna have to to start skipping it and get these times down. Because he had that win if he skipped the tail. It was his to win, for sure.
Yeah, if he had skipped the tail and didn't die, of course. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I can only guess that the head knockdown made Arcus nervous. He only got hit by the head once, so he's still down 1 damage. But when you mess up the tail timing and you don't get to tail timing for a rich kill, it could be nerve-wracking. It could really make you nervous, and you could decide to go for the tail kill. So Arcus is playing it really safe. Wow, if Edo won that because of that, that's going to be crazy. Yeah, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait for the frame count. Yeah.
So we're just setting up the second race now. We're going to have the race mods have to go through the last 2 runs and frame count them from the stream. If they're very, very close, we may actually have to download VODs to do the frame count. We'll just have to see how it turns out. It looks like both runners in the next room. I'm going to start setting them up and let them know that we're frame counting the last run. That way they're aware that we don't know a winner for that last run yet.
Yeah, so I think it'll be probably important for us to figure out who won before the second race. So that means it might take a while before the second race starts, just so we can get things right. The reality is you can retime Twitch VODs. There are tools to do that, but the ones that we have available are not perfectly accurate. They can sometimes be off by a frame or two. So it is always safer to download VODs and to retime them that way. But in order to do that, they would have to end stream and then go live right after that. So hopefully it doesn't have to happen, but there's a small chance that they might have to go offline so we can download the VOD and then retime it, and then they can go back online. So just give us a second, chat. Just be patient with us as we try to figure this out. But the next race, should be really good regardless. Kind of hoping Edo had won, to be honest, just because that would make things a bit more exciting. Like the last match, when KB won the first race, that kind of makes it more exciting, and everything changes at that point, because now what everyone expected has been flipped on its head. We all expect, Lucas to win. We expect Retro Runner to win in our minds just because they're better. But when the underdog wins the first race, I think psychologically that really changes the dynamic for both racers. So kind of hope Edo had won. That would make this a more competitive match going forward, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's got to be difficult going in. This is why I went into the race room and told them both, what we're doing with the first race, because it's got to be difficult going into the second race not knowing the result from the first. This could very well be, for one of these runners, this is a sudden death match right here. For one of them, this is, if you lose, it's all over. We just don't know which one it is, or which one it could be, rather. So that's got to be a difficult feeling, knowing that that you could go into the second race 1 down, and if you lose it, it could be it.
If secretly, if you're in that position, you might wonder, do I really want to know? It's kind of like choosing whether or not you want to watch the races, because it could be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. And if you're in the position of Edo or Arcus, if you find out you won, you're going to feel better. But if you find out you lost, you might feel more nervous. So I'm wondering if secretly in their minds, they're like, maybe we should just get on to the second race and I'll just play my best. And I'm not going to let the first race affect me. Maybe secretly they're hoping that we just end up moving on. But I think that would probably be the best thing. But
yeah, that's very possible. As we were talking about earlier, it definitely is a strategy to just run your race and just focus on you, and and not worry about broadcast, not worry about what the other runner is doing, or in this case, not even worry about the score thus far. Just run the best race you can and let the chips fall where they may.
yeah, for sure. And I think so. It looks like we're about to start the second race. I'm still not 100% sure who won yet. We're still waiting on those results as well. I think they might come out around the same time.
Yeah, I'm assuming so we've got multiple race mods. They've each, taken a runner that they're going to be frame counting. It looks like we got the first one already tentatively. Arcus is a 1202.767. Again, that's may not be exact, but we'll find out. We'll find out here in a bit, and we'll let y'all know as soon as we find out.
Yeah, and so we had definitely said 1203 before, but that could be different. And so with retimes, again, so far Arcus did in fact get a 1202, not a 1203. So that's why we have to wait and see what happens. We can't assume anything else.
Right, unless they are, and again, unless they are a pretty wide margin as far as that frame count goes. We may end up having to have them end stream so that we can download VODs and check with the downloaded VOD to make absolutely certain and sure. Because in group setups, thus far in round 1 and round 2, we haven't had this problem where we have the luxury of going and frame counting and doing all that stuff after the fact. In fact, after round 2, we frame counted literally every single run that KB and Edo ran in order to find out what their seating would be going in to these races. And we don't have the luxury of doing that today, because today we need to know who the winners are in the moment in order to move on, because this is the bracket stage. So we may have to do whatever we need to do to find out who the real winner is what we're going to be doing. So making absolutely certain that we get it right today is the number one priority. So we're going to let y'all know as soon as we know.
Yeah, for sure. And I 100% agree. We want to be accurate, and so it's a bit hard to do that with Twitch VODs, unfortunately, because Twitch VOD player is not so great sometimes, so it's a bit hard to time things properly. But regardless, we are going to get into the second race here. And like I said before, I think maybe you might feel better this way, because it's in a vacuum kind of, and you're just ready to race again regardless of what happened the first time. And so I think it could end up being a better race in some ways, because people are less nervous. I think they fit a little bit ahead, getting a 112 door. Edo got a 111. So, but I mean, all it took was Lucas killing the tail for Edo to catch up. So I think Edo's plan here is to maintain pace as much as possible, and he might have to play more risky. I mean, again, he shouldn't kill the tail, obviously. That gives him a major advantage if Marcus decides to kill it. So Edo's going to try to maintain pace as best he can, and we'll just see what happens at the very end, the bosses.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see if Arcus decides to change his strategy at all here. If he decides to kill the tail again, or if he decides to skip it. I would imagine, knowing now that that he's got a caliber of runner that's capable of running a race that fast and relatively consistently. If I were him, I'd feel like I absolutely had to. But it'll be interesting to see. We'll definitely find out. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what we're hearing from the broadcast room is that it's just way too close to tell without downloading VODs. So we're not going to say anything yet. we will have to end the broadcast. Well, we'll not this broadcast. We'll have to have them in their streams in order to download VODs and get proper retimes. So unfortunately, we'll have to do that. Possibly after this race, I'm not sure. We'll see. But
yeah,
in the
what we'll end up
meantime,
doing is after this race, we'll have them cut stream after this race is over, and we'll pan to a be right back screen for a little bit while we get those frame counts done. That way we know absolutely certain the times that we're seeing from the race mods, and they're timing it multiple different ways, but in the different ways that they've done and the different times they've got, they're so close that they're literally milliseconds away from each other, and it's not anything we want to take a chance with. So we'll end up taking that time. We'll be on a be right back screen for a little bit while we download them and frame count them, and then we'll come back with the results. And that'll be after this race concludes. So hopefully this race we'll know a definitive winner for race number 2, and we'll only be counting for number 1. But we're going to make sure that we do that in order to make sure that we get the correct result today before we move on.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. And Marcus is still slightly ahead. He went for the Bumble Tumble, and Edo again went for that pause strat at the cliff, which I think he feels pretty comfortable with, I'm guessing. Knowing so much about the game, I'm pretty sure he feels very comfortable with that strat. He probably does pacifist now that I think about it. I just realized that's probably a pacifist strat if I had to guess. You don't feel anything there. And Edo gained the bat boost this time as well as Marcus. The bat boost is something that, if you don't know as a runner, if you're not a runner, you should know that with the bat boost, there is a small chance that you get a pattern that will kill you no matter how late you jump. So the bat boost is actually somewhat risky, because if you get unlucky, you're going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so that's why so many people opted to not do that bat boost for 1, because it is so scary. But these runners, I guess they're going to take their chances. They're going to go for the bat boost and try to get that time save. But you can definitely die from it. It's definitely possible.
Yeah, that's a great point, that there are certain strats in this game where it doesn't matter, whether it's subpixel dependent or it's timing dependent, but it doesn't matter if you do them correctly or not. Occasionally, you're just going to die. The game is not going to give it to you, and it's a death at that point. And that's definitely one spot. And we saw the other earlier with Retro Runner dying at Butt Clinch Cliff. I didn't see how he did it, but it is possible there to do that pause strat and still die. And he may have done it completely correctly and just not have been able to get it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why on that cliff in particular, if you just jump late without the pause, you'll make it no matter what. But the problem is you have to jump late, and it can sometimes be easy to not jump late, especially if you're not really paying attention and you're on autopilot. But regardless, Edo is a little bit behind. This is very similar to last race, where Edo is just a tiny bit behind because Ark's is playing so clean. The reality is, this is a good race for Edo. This is a good race for Edo if he's not racing Arcus. The problem here is that he's facing Arcus, and that makes it much more difficult. But I would say so far, Edo is playing more consistent than he has in the past in NRL. And so I'm really happy to see, again, just how well these 4 racers are doing today. It's really good to see.
He's definitely getting a good opportunity. Arcus took some knockbacks there by a Hammer Bro at 4-2, and had a fall there in 4-3 that he had to get back on the platform with. So Edo definitely having his opportunities to catch back up as Arcus gets trolled by the game a little bit. He's going to get an interesting bird pattern there. It looks like he had to throw a different star there, but it worked for him. It cut that bird out from behind him. And here we see him transitioning into 5-2. Edo, probably 4 or 5 seconds behind, not too far behind here. Definitely, again, close enough to Arcus to where if Arcus chooses not to kill the tail, Edo could have a tailless. Rather, if Arcus chooses to kill the tail, Edo could do a tailless kill and catch back up.
Yeah, he definitely could. One thing I'll say about 5-1 real quick is I'm surprised how many runners have not gotten the double bird boost. They've gotten the safety star or something like that. I guess the reality is that double bird boost, especially when you're nervous, can be very easy to mess up. I think that's why people are opting for something safer. Marcus went for the up and over inside of the lemon drop. We've got the Janet boost, which again, Edo is going to miss. So that's going to be somewhat of a time loss for him.
I think that boost, he might have missed that boost in every race so far. If I think didn't he miss it in the prior race with Arcus as well?
Yes, he definitely missed it in the last race too. The thing about Janet boosts is not only is it really finicky, you can
Arcus
die from
having
it.
trouble with.
Oh.
Sorry to talk over you there. Arcus having problem with SP boost, and same with Edo. Edo getting caught up on the platform there.
Yeah, nice backup for Arcus. He knows what he's doing. That's the experience he's showing. Knowing how to back that up was really nice there. And so Edo's going to make up some time for that SP boost in the first time, but it's not going to be a whole lot because Arcus didn't lose that much really, and the lead is still quite substantial at this point. I mean, the leads we're seeing today are a lot different than the past 2 rounds. When we said that someone had a large lead in the past 2 rounds, it was usually like just for the 30-second lead. Today, when we say someone has a large lead, it's like 5 seconds, 7 seconds. It's really not that big. But for these racers who have been really close so far, a 5-second lead is pretty big.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how, I don't know if they've just turned up the heat for this final round, or if they've gotten a lot of practice within the last week or what, but the showing that we've gotten today is just miles different from, wow, Edo really getting chewed up here in 6-1. He probably lost a good 4 seconds there just taking knockbacks.
Yeah, he got knocked back
that's
twice.
Gonna set him back quite a bit.
Yeah, knocked back twice. At least one Stanley that I saw. That's huge. And he's messing up a little bit in 6-2. Oh, and having to dodge a bad hammer. Oh, that's rough. That's rough.
He's halfway through his health already in the first screen of 6-2. That is really tough to get through.
Yeah, so he's not going to take jetpack boosts. There's some other easy ways to save some health. I think he's going to make it unless he makes another mistake, I think he'll be fine. But it's still dangerous for sure. He didn't take a hammer from that hammer throw.
Yeah, he's got to take no extra hammers, no extra boosts, and he's got to skip a lot of extra boosts that he could save time with as well in order to preserve that health.
Yeah, it's true, and he can't afford to lose time. That's a good point.
Yeah, Arcus pulling pretty well ahead here. Already transitioning to the second last screen of 6-3, coming up to the bird boost. Edo just getting into the first screen on 6-3. I think you're right. I think he's going to make it health-wise. He's looking good here.
Yeah, he's going to do this bird boost right here. He's going to be down to 2 health, which obviously will be enough, but it's still scary.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see if he... Sorry, go ahead.
This is the kind of race where Arcus should be killing the tail. If we want to be honest here, and in this round, the thing that changes a lot, in my opinion, is the fact that your average time doesn't matter. So in previous rounds, personally, I justified some certain things because I wanted a good average. But in these matches, the average is irrelevant. So if you know you're ahead, there's no reason to skip the tail kill because you don't care about your average time. You just need to finish. You just need to beat the other person. And Arcus is getting a fast 2 cycle backup for the plate kill.
That was a good 2 cycle.
Yeah, and he's probably going to kill the tail here.
Yeah, if he's watching the broadcast, he's definitely killing the tail on this one. Yep, there he goes. Dodging some shrimp. He's going to take a knockback from 1, but this looks like it's going to be in the bag here. He's got it.
Yeah, and his match is it's not as good as he would like it to be. I think his nerves are really getting to him there. Not that it matters. He definitely won, obviously. That's okay. He won. GG's to Arcus. Based on the timer on the stream, that was a sub 12. Really solid. And Edo taking a death.
Wow. And I mean, again, like you said, not that it matters because, time doesn't matter here, but interesting. Got knocked up onto the top of the head there. That's difficult to deal with.
Yeah, and just like KB dying to the demon in the second race, not able to finish there. It didn't matter, just like the first match. But Arcus played really well and got a sub 12, and I think that's really good. I think a sub 12, especially if it's like a mid 1150, is a really solid time. I think against KB, if he were to make it to the finals, he would want something maybe a little lower because KB can get a time like that as well. But that's still a pretty good race for sure for Arcus.
Just letting the runners here know that they need to end stream so we can do that frame count for the first.
Yeah, so they only need to end stream for a very short amount of time and then just immediately go back online. So I think at some point you're going to have to go to the BRB screen to do some retiming and things like that. But GG Starkus for that second race. Again, we still have to figure out the first race before we can know what we're doing here. So let's just give us a second. Be patient with us as we figure out what we're going to do next.
All right, y'all. So we have our second match result. As you can see, Arcus moving on. We frame counted that first run, and Edo's official time was 12:02.850. Arcus's official time was 12:02.733, which means Arcus moves on to the finals round with Knucklebuster, and Retro Runner and Edo will be coming up next shortly for our sudden death third place match. Pensive Moose, what do you think? Arcus, both we don't know, because we know that Arcus watches the stream, so we don't know if he didn't get a chance to have a competitive run to see if he's gonna forego the tail cut. But what do you think he's gonna do going into finals with KB?
Well, based on KB's performance against Retro Runner, he cannot afford to cut the tail. I mean, it's simple as that, really. If he is watching KB, then he can decide what to do based on KB's pace. But if KB plays as well as he did last time, then he's gonna have to not kill the tail. I mean, that's just the reality of it. He got really lucky against Edo that first race. I mean, let's be honest. Just losing by mere frames. He got really lucky to not have lost that race. It's good for him that he was able to do it, but he's gonna have to be, I think, maybe a little bit more careful going into the finals against Knucklebuster. I'd hate for him to lose the whole thing just because of the Demon Tail. I think, especially considering how good he is and how many years he's been playing, I think he has the skills to kill the demon, no problem. I think he just needs to make a decision going into it that I'm either going to kill the tail or I'm not going to kill the tail, and he needs to execute it as I know he can, and have a lot of confidence in himself, because he's obviously very, very, very good player.
Indeed.
As far as the third place race, it'll be interesting to see, because it's only a one-time race, and so Retro Runner obviously still raced very well in the first match. Just unfortunately took that death, which kind of ruined it for him. Edo, I think, also played very well, but Retro Runner did play somewhat better than him so far today. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, shout outs to Edo for running incredible races here. Again, just as we saw with Knucklebuster, the average times got moved up, the performance moved up. We saw some really consistent and good runs from Edo today. Arcus was just a faster runner today. And I'm with you. I think in order to beat KB, especially KB, operating at the level that he is today, Arcus is going to have to start doing what he does and running his fastest races. And I'm pretty excited to see that. I hope that's the case. I hope that happens. I'm really, really excited to see that match. But coming up next, we're going to see Retro Runner and Edo, this third place match. And as you said, this is a sudden death round. And to be honest, we've never done this before. This was an idea that we had in the planning here because of time constraints, and we just thought, we didn't want to forego a third place match. It was incredibly important to have a true podium, and so in order to do that, we had to make it a single race, and we've never done this before. So I wonder what strats we utilize here. Like as a runner, what strats would you utilize if you know that you only have one shot?
Yeah, I don't know. That's such a hard question to answer. And to be honest, the way I see it is that, I don't know, your race strats should be your race strats, in my opinion. I think the more you question things, the harder it can be. If I go into a race and I plan on jumping the cliff very late, for example, in 3-2, I'm not going to do anything safe. I'm going to do what I'm used to doing at 80%. If I switch that up mid-race, you could go for something that I haven't practiced as much, and I could end up dying. So, in my opinion, I think the best thing to do going into any race is to plan on doing something and sticking to it as much as you possibly can. Indeed. Because that's what you've been practicing. I mean, personally, I practice a lot before I do runs or practice, or even NRL. I practice a lot, and I knew if I tried to switch anything up, like for example, if I decided to go for fast beef-off when I planned not to, that would be a bad move because I would probably mess it up. Just not
right.
practice.
Just stick with your plan. Indeed. Indeed, yeah, just sticking with the route that you've practiced, essentially. All right, y'all. Well, we got to go back to the Be Right Back screen one more time. We've got to put up Retro Runner and Edo into the capture. This shouldn't take long. We're going to head there, and then as soon as we get them ready to go, we'll be right back, and we're going to run that third place match. See you in a minute. All right, y'all, welcome back. We're about to kick off this sudden death third place round between Edo and Retro Runner. Pensa Boost, who you got, good sir?
Oh, Retro Runner got third last year, so why not do it again? That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
I mean, Retro Runner is the better runner, and he was upset by KB though today. And to be honest, like it might have gone in Retro Runner's head a bit. So we'll see how well he plays. He's very capable. I think if he just buckles down and does this one last run for NRL, then he could definitely win over Edo, I think. The fact that KB performed better, a bit better than Edo, making obviously KB winning his rounds, makes me think that Retro Runner is now facing a little bit less competition in terms of just how Edo has played today. So he does have maybe a slightly better chance than he did over KB. But Retro Runner could easily make another mistake that leads Edo to winning, and it's only a sudden death. So that's all you get. You get one chance. And so I think we've said it multiple times, but Edo just has to play as consistently as he can and wait for Retro Runner to make those small mistakes that he can take advantage of.
Indeed. All right, so it looks like the sync is up. Pretty good job on the sync there within the second for sure. On the two of them, we're off into 1-1. This is going to be interesting to see if anything changes for a sudden death round. I'm kind of with you. I didn't even quite think about what the strategy would be going into a sudden death round, and I can't imagine that our runners would have expected this either. Oh, Edo getting the lazy Tyson. That's gonna set him back already. That is a bad feeling, and 1-1 already coming in behind.
I'd be so mad, to be honest. I don't have as much patience as some other people do when it comes to things like that. And it would definitely get to me. I think it'd be hard not to let it get to me. I think Edo's a bit different though. He's a bit more mellowed out guy, and I am most of the time. So, unfortunately, it's unfortunate that it happened to Edo though, because Edo's the one that cannot afford those losses as much, and so Edo already had a difficult task trying to be Retro Runner, and it just became that much harder from the very beginning. So it's going to be rough, but Edo just needs to keep his head down and keep playing.
Indeed. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like you said, Edo, just a calm, serene sort of personality type. I'm with you. If I have a bad stage one, I just really want to press the reset button and start over again. Yeah, I'm slogging through the rest of the run in a race, knowing that I've already lost so much time in the first act. But it looks like he's picked it back up. Edo Knight, the type of personality. Oh wow, Retro Runner having an issue there. Retro Runner does that slash technique here. You see him throw the star about midway through that stage, and that technique doesn't work as well if you don't get the exact global timer that you want. And I wonder I doubt that he missed his strat. I bet that he got a bad global there and took a hammer he couldn't deal with.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Without any sort of manipulation, like if you just do reset, mash, it's very easy to get a 137 door out of 2-1. And if you get a mid 137 or a high 137, the hammer goal will give you so much problems. What we see here is that Edo should be thanking the Ninja Gaiden gods right now, because he is catching up thanks to those small mistakes from Retro Runner. I think he got a knockback again later on in 2-2.
Indeed. Looking like they're getting pretty close here. Maybe Retro Runner only a second lead or so at this point.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is a 246, 247 from the two runners, and that's not as fast as they had done it earlier today. But again, they both got a little screwed by RNG. Like were playing well, but then had some time losses just because the game told them, no, you can't do that. You need to slow down. And so they were slowed down. I'm interested to see what Retro Runner does to the cliff. I think a lot of us are probably thinking that in our minds right now, just thinking about what exactly he's going to do. If he's confident with the bumble tumble, he should just do it. He just needs to do the bumble tumble if that's what he's been practicing, in my opinion.
That's my bet. I think we see the Bumble Tumble here. It's either that or he just goes full ham on it and we see a butt clinch cliff, which, to be honest, I think he's probably even more comfortable with than that pause strat that we saw him use earlier. I think he's probably barely ever used that strat, and he does the butt clinch cliff so often, and he hits it the overwhelming majority of the time. Wow, you see him? He's definitely not using the Bumble Tumble here. So let's see. Yep, there it is, the butt clinch cliff and a Stanley to finish it, but that'll work. And in that door, probably a good second and a half ahead of Edo.
You know, I respect it so much. I don't think that was what he planned to do for races, but you're right. He's just so comfortable with the butt clinch clip. He's 12. That's literally how long he's been doing that strat. So it makes so much sense that he's so consistent at it. And unfortunately had a slower massacre than Edo, who got a standard kill. So they are going to be even, but I'm actually very happy he got the butt punch clip there. And Retro Runner was like so close to getting God Hammered there in 4-1. He was literally frames away. If he had been like literally frames slower or faster, he could have gotten God Hammered there. He got super lucky.
You know, that's a great feeling in a race, actually. That's sort of the opposite feeling of getting a Lacey Tyson in 1-1 is when you see a Godhammer come at you and you know that you skated it by literal frames and that you could have just had, a death or whatnot, but you skated it and the Ninja Gaiden gods let you through. Such a great feeling in a race, knowing that, you had some luck handed your way, and that's generally not how this game works. Generally, this game is very punishing. As we see, Retro Runner having some difficulty getting on the bridge, had to use like a backup boost off that Pickle Ninja there, and that's going to put him back behind Edo.
Yeah, it was going to be slightly ahead here. To be honest, as much as the photo finishes are exciting, it'd be nice to not have to, do a bunch of retimes. That would be a little bit more convenient than what we've had so far today. But they are very close right now, and if this pace keeps up, they're going to be close to the end. We said this before about Knuckle Buster, but Edo needs to be ahead going into the final bosses for sure.
The good news is if we have to frame count this run, we can do it during the finals and let y'all know after, since this is the only run that these two are going to run against each other, unless they completely tie each other to the frame, we should have a winner here.
Oh, what a nightmare that would be if they tied.
Right? We'd have to run an additional race after the finals. That would really just be on point for tonight. Thus far, whenever this is the worst night to have close races and have to do download frame counts on VODs, and so far so many close races, which is very fun to watch, but as we saw with that last one, can be a difficulty to broadcast for sure, and make sure that we're doing this in the fairest way possible. As you see, both runners here getting into 5-1. Edo's still actually, it looks like Edo behind a bit. I must have missed it. Did he take a knockback or something? Because he's a good second or two behind Arcus. Retro Runner at this point.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely missed it too. I think the manip, he might have messed up the manip. That's definitely possible. If you mess it up, you can lose a good amount of time.
Retro Runner hitting that double bird boost there. You got to wonder. I kind of think, and if I had to guess, I say Retro Runner is upset with himself. He lost that last race, and he's sitting there thinking, I lost this because I did something I wasn't comfortable with. I didn't run my route. And so far in this race, it looks like he's just running his route. And he's just doing what he's comfortable with, even if the strats are theoretically more dangerous. And I wonder if that's his plan.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way, and I totally respect him for it. We'll see. He's going to go for lemon drop. Just see, he just doesn't do anything. And that's one thing a little bit different about him and Arcus is that Retro Runner just prefers to stick to any percent strats, including lemon drop, including not killing the tail, things like that. And so Retro Runner missing the Janet boost and having 3 health here, which is very dangerous. You end up taking 1 hit from SP boost, if I remember correctly. And so, yeah, just 1. And so he can get hit 1 more time by a hammer, but he needs to not take
got
damage.
An active hammer
else.
bro there, but made it through. That was very close. But he should be okay. He goes through this stage so often with low health. I think he's probably pretty comfortable here, but he doesn't have a whole lot of extra Nimpo. If he spins this last, which he will, yep, there. He doesn't have a whole lot of extra Nimpo to do like a, well, it looks like he won't need it. So he didn't get an active Hammer Bro there, didn't need to use a spin, so he'll be perfect going up into the end of 5-3. Edo as well, coming out with some extra Nimpo there, it looks like, gonna spin it off as we do some Moth, and we head into 6-1.
Yeah, you brought up a good point. Retro Runner should be very comfortable with only having 2 health at the end of Act 5. Because it happens so often, and he's been playing for so long that it should be a very familiar feeling. And going into Act 6, we see that Retro Runner is a bit ahead, and Edo really needs to make up some time. And honestly, he should be looking to reverse this lead completely so that he is slightly ahead, because going into final bosses, he's going to need that time over Retro Runner.
Indeed. It looks like Retro Runner hit that door at 9:18, Edo at 9:22. So it looks like about a 4-second differential between the two right here. Retro Runner having some difficulty with some hammers getting through there, and looks like so that lead will actually be oh my goodness. They're moving so quickly. That lead's probably going to be less than it was when they hit 6-2, because he got chewed up pretty good going through that first section there.
Yeah, he did. So it's looking pretty good for Retro Runner right now. The climbs are pretty solid. For Edo, though, really good. Look at him go. Look at him go.
That climb was incredible.
Yeah, it really was.
Flew up that ladder. My goodness.
Look at him go. Look at Retro Runner.
Yep, there it is. He's just running his route. He's just doing what he does.
You called it. And Edo messing up the exit.
Edo having difficulty. Yeah. You know, there's something to be said for running a race like that. If that's your route and that's what you're used to, 95% of the time Retro Runner makes it through those routes, and even when he has problems, he scores very low times. And sometimes faster is safer in a race, not only because it's what you're used to, but because, if you do have problems at some point during the race, because you're running a faster route, your time is going to be lower. So you can afford to get some hammers and some knockbacks because you're making up that extra time with those dangerous strats. And yeah, you can see going for fast B-Fob here. He's just running his route. This is a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, and he's saving time over Edo by not only playing cleaner, but going for faster strat. So unfortunately, it's going to be hard for Edo to catch up here. Retro Runner just needs to execute here, and he's going to win this race.
Indeed. Let's see how we're going to see a plate kill attempt, I'm sure. Looks like, one left there. Okay, easy backup, 2 cycle. Nicely done. Edo also going for the center platform kill there.
Yeah, but he's getting a 2.5. It's not going to be enough to catch up. Retro Runner just needs to not die here. I
think that's probably I'm not highly familiar, but a 2.5 rounder there is a really good kill. Oh, Retro Runner having bad shrimp pattern.
Yeah, he made it work though.
Well done.
He made it work.
Well done.
And there it is, Retro Runner 3rd place 2 years in a row. And GG's to him. I know he's going to be disappointed with the results, especially after the death in the first match today. But he's got to be proud. I mean, 3rd place 2 years in a row is really not bad. He's not known for being a racer, and I think that may have played a part in his results here. But still, just bringing his skills, getting so many good times. I mean, literally the top 5 best times have been by him, I feel like, because he's gotten so many 4Xs throughout the entire NRL. He's played so well. At the very end, took an unfortunate death, but he got 3rd place, and he should be so proud, and I know that we're proud of him as well. GG's to Retro Runner.
Indeed, I seconded absolutely. Definitely our fastest racer and the fastest runner of this game, currently holding the world record. Not somebody who does races on a regular basis. He is just 100% all out a PB runner, and to score a 3rd place win 2 years in a row, that's some consistency just right there. He is literally just that fast. That he's able to do that. So big GGs. Well done to Edo as well. He really stepped up in these final races, in this final round. His times in this final round were not only just as consistent as they were in round 2, but faster than they were in round 2. I mean, he really put the pressure on. So big GGs to Edo as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Edo should be very proud. Coming back from a first round that was not very good for him and just improving his times every single round, as you said, he should be very proud. Having the slowest time of all 4 in the finals, still just like showing up and playing well. I mean, he could have died every single race, and that would have been really disappointing. But he didn't die. I mean, no one died, and he played really well. And so GG's to him as well. So we're going to go back to our BRB screen just real quick, and then we're going to have one more match, the finals match between KB and Arcus. We have finally made it this far. I'm super excited. I know you guys are too. So just give us a few minutes here to get set up, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, y'all. The finals of the NRL for 2022. This is it. This is going to be a best of 3 match. And whoever wins this will take home the championship for 2022 NRL. I am freaking psyched about this. Pence and Moose, how are you feeling, good sir?
Feeling good. I'm excited. These runners are very good. And the thing is, KB is going for second place again. Now, obviously, he wants to get first this year. He got second place last year. And I think he wants to get first. I mean, who wouldn't, right? Especially if you're facing Arcus. Honor. I know KB's a very humble runner, and he's just, I know he's very happy and proud to be even racing against Arcus. So if he's able to beat him, I know that will be even more exciting. But it's going to be very competitive because Arcus is very good, obviously, has been racing very well. It's going to be interesting to see how close these runners can get to getting 1140X, if I'm being honest, because I know both of them have been getting a lot more 5X times throughout the entire NRL. So I think it's a very, in terms of NRL placement, in terms of their races here, I think this is a very even match, despite the PBs being a bit further apart.
Indeed. Yeah, a big differential between PBs, but as far as race times go, they're relatively evenly matched. And as far as the, it should be said, I get the great pleasure of being in their race chat, and I think I've seen it in almost every race that we've had tonight, where the two racers are telling each other good luck. They're telling each other how much they appreciate being here and doing this. And I've seen it literally said 4 times tonight that it's an honor to run against you. And that is so cool to see. These guys really appreciate each other. They respect each other a lot as runners of the game. And there's a lot of goodwill toward each other in this. And that's a really, really cool to see. We're seeing it again in this match before we started here. Again, you'll see Arcus froze that stream so we get them in sync. KB is always a little bit behind, being on the West Coast. And we are off. KB missing the sign grab, though, going low route. See how this turns out. That's going to put him only marginally behind. That's not much of a loss at all.
Yeah, it really isn't. And I would say the sign grab should be really easy, but to be honest, when you're doing it in a race, the nerves just make it much harder. And it's one of those stupid things where you're going to mess it up if you're really nervous, or at least you can easily mess it up. And
isn't it funny how you get into a race setting and all of a sudden your fingers just don't work? I don't know about anybody else, but that really is how I feel. It's like something happens to your fingers and everything is stiffer and harder, and it just doesn't flow near as well as it should. And it's, at least for me, it's got to be nerves. I don't know. I'm sure that's the case for at least some other runners as well.
Oh yeah, it's the worst part, to be honest. And I was never much of a racer, and I think that's kind of what hurt me a bit, was not being used to that. And Arcus missed that Typhon up top, and if you jump over that Tyson and don't kill him, he could easily knock you into the pit. It's like a god hammer, but it's not a hammer, it's a Tyson. But he knew that he had missed him, so he paused and decided to kill him, even though he lost a bit of time. That was a smart move from him, even though it did cost him some time. He could have easily had died if he had just jumped right over.
That was a really good backup. When I went through the races earlier, I chose to start canceling that Tyson just because I get knocked into the pit so often by that guy, and you just gotta find a way around it. Either you gotta watch out for it and do that sort of backup like Arcus did, or find a way to kill him without endangering yourself. But you'll see both runners here almost completely synced up going into 2-2. They both choose to take the fire shield and working their way up this ladder. Gonna look for the bat boost. Knucklebuster climbing his way over the pillar while Arcus doing the flip-flop. That pillar up and over is a little bit of a new strat. You save a little bit of time doing that, don't you, Pensive?
Yeah, it's honestly, though, really difficult to save time with that strat. KB may or may not have saved time over Arcus, but if he did, it was very insignificant, like maybe 0.1. It's definitely really hard to save time with that. It's been somewhat of a controversy amongst some of us trying to figure out if it does save time or not, because I think you have to be really good at climbing to actually get the time saved. But
Yeah,
it is very in a race setting. It's pretty much irrelevant in my opinion, as long as you don't go for one and mess it up.
right. I guess as with a lot of strats, there's an optimal time save for each strat, but everybody performs those strats a little bit differently. Some slower or faster than others because everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses. So just because you did a strat doesn't necessarily mean you're going to save the time. And like you said, if you don't perform it exactly optimally, you may not save any time doing it at all. And both these runners still completely synced up. It looks like hardly any difference between the two of them. This is really fun to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, in terms of NRL performance, I knew that these runners could easily be very close to each other. I know Arcus has done better in the first 2 rounds, but based on KB's performance today, it's quite clear that he's ready to perform just as well as Arcus can. And so that's why I expected them to be very close. And so Arcus is going for the Bumble Tumble, KB's going for the pause strat. Got a really nice pattern there that was very forgiving and very easily able to clear the dude at the bottom.
Nice. We'll see how they do on Massacre. This kill is where you can save quite a bit of time, and you can see Knucklebuster losing probably about 2 seconds there with that slower kill. Had to take him down with some slash cancels.
Yeah, the standard kill is another thing that it's so much harder in runs and in practice, and then adding the extra layer of race nerves, it makes it even harder to do. So I'm not surprised that some good players have been missing it, including KB, who I don't think has gotten it today yet. But, KB is doing just fine. He just needs to keep playing. And by the way, oh wow, he's doing a pause strat for the back boost there as well. But it ended up messing it up because if you pause, you can sometimes jump over the back, and that stray bullet that doesn't always show up, it almost knocked him into the pit. That would have been a disaster, and it would have been just a really weird way to die. I'm glad it didn't happen, but KB is now losing even more time.
Yeah, you see there the sort of danger of doing some of those safer strats, those sort of pause strats. Can throw the game off a little bit, and it was a good save on KB's part there. That was not what was expected, and especially with that bullet just coming in, I agree it would have been a really bad way to have a death, trying to use a safety strat, similar to what we saw with retro runners using a safety strat and getting the worst of it. So it looks like Arc is still about, I'd say, 2 seconds ahead here. KB's still within striking distance, and you got to wonder, seems like the talk that we always come to when we talk about Arcus's races. And for as much as we've expounded upon this and talked about whether or not he should be cutting the tail or whether or not that was the right thing to do or a good strat, thus far throughout this tournament, he's advanced, and he's advanced with the highest seed possible. So far, his strategy has worked exactly the way it needed to for him, and it really just makes me wonder, does he change it, or are we going to see more cutting of the tail in this one?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm just to see what happens. I truly am. It's going to be the most exciting race, to be honest, just to see what exactly he does.
Agreed. It'll be interesting if they stay close, for sure.
Yes, that's right. If KB doesn't catch up, he's going to have plenty of time to fill that tail. KB could definitely catch up, but just like the earlier today, he has to hope that Arcus makes a mistake. KB not getting the manip, I believe the hammer bro might have been aggressive, which means that the manip is not even possible. I think Arcus did get it, if I remember correctly. So he's losing just slightly more time there as well. And he's falling down here, and yeah, it's looking rough for him. It's definitely not over, but he's going to be even more behind at a 5-1.
Yeah, Arcus using that really cool swag star, that race strat there. You take out the bird and the bat, and then you and grab the health. Really, really cool strat. I like that one. See him going into 5-2. KB right behind. Let's see if KB likes to throw that star out right there. I was seeing if he was going to do that again. That's a difficult slash for some people. KB just likes to make it easy and throw the star out. Of course, you lose the 5 Nimpo by doing that, but makes it pretty much free to get through there and not take the knockback, which is a pretty significant time loss if you do take that knockback.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a knockback that would be over a second. I'm still somewhat surprised he does the safety star just because he does low percent and 80%, which he both kill the dude there. So I'm a little surprised he does it that way, but you know, losing 0.1 seconds to throw the star is nothing compared to losing over a second. So I kind of get it. And they both got the Janet boost, which is a really nice time save. I know a lot of people have been missing that, so it's good to see them both get it. But Argus is still playing really well, which is a problem for PB.
Yeah, indeed. You see him here getting the SP boost. He's going to the next stage with 30 Nimpo, which is exactly what he needs here. He's got plenty to get through easily. KB's working his way through behind. It looks like he should get through here easily as well. But wow, Arcus just getting a really active hammer bro there. He spun his way through really well though. Good job there by Arcus to take care of those hammers.
Yeah, it's funny. KB was just far enough behind him that he got a passive hammer bro instead. So that kind of makes sense the way we know hammer bros work. If you're a bit further behind, roughly 2 seconds or 3 seconds, then there's a good chance you'll get a passive pattern rather than an active pattern. So it's cool to see that work out.
That's just about dead on. I looked at the screen fade out between the two there, and it looks like Arcus is ahead by about 4 seconds, which is significant. 4-second lead is pretty good when you're at this level of racing. But again, cutting the tail is a 6 to 8 second time loss. So more than enough time for Knucklebuster to make up if Arcus decides to cut the tail here and Knucklebuster goes for the tail skip. So we'll have to see how that turns out. We're KB basically still within striking distance, importantly here.
Yeah, and Arcus took a knockback from the Jetpack Ninjas, but KB also had a little bit of a sloppy play at the beginning of 6-2. So KB's going to get some time, but not a whole lot. And so we're still waiting for KB to somehow make this up, but Arcus has to do something more significant and make a bigger mistake for that to happen.
KB having some difficulty on those climbs. See how there on that 6-2 ladder, he had some climbs. Occasionally you'll have a climb where it actually sets you back further. It doesn't advance you as much, and looks like he got a couple of those there. As Arcus heads into 6-3 here, spinning and winning, jumping and booming. There it is, going up into this, as we call it, the choke pull. Does not choke. Well done there. Spins out the Nimpo, setting up the bird boost. KB is hot on his tail still, though. This is going to be a close race.
Yeah, for sure. But from here on out, Arcus almost got God hammered there. He was frames away from it. It was right behind him. And KB actually didn't go for X Vinny. I will point that out. He could have saved half a second if he had gotten it, but he decided not to go for it at all. Perhaps after messing up the setup that last race. So at this point, it's going to be hard. I mean, this is the very end here, so KB's not going to be able to save much time here. So it's all going to come down to bosses, and we know that Arcus has an advantage over KB here.
Yeah, we'll see. So that was a 10:55 door for Arcus and a 10:58 door for Knucklebuster, so about a 3 or 4 second difference between the two. You're exactly right. This is all just going to come down to bosses. Arcus going for that.
Not a very good beginning.
Ooh.
Yeah, he didn't get enough hits in. That's a good backup.
Good backup. Very good backup. Taking 4 hits down on that last jump.
Yeah, that backup is faster than anything KB usually gets, so he's going to save more time there. Let's see what he does to the demon. Okay, 3 jumps for the head. Not killing the tail. Perfect.
Nice, fast kill. Very fast kill.
And KB gets a rich kill, I think. I don't know if he got in 3 jumps, but he got the tail pattern, and he saved time over Arcus there, but it doesn't matter. It looks like they both got an 11-4X. Wow, I'm pretty sure we'll have to get a time here, but wow.
Yeah,
I think Arcus...
Yeah, Arcus with an 11:44, KB with an 11:49.
Wow, you know what? That's just amazing. You can't ask KB to do better than that. Arcus literally got what KB's PB is right now. KB has 11:44. It is a low 11:44, but still, like Arcus just basically as fast as KB's PB in that run. Wow. I mean, KB did so well. It's kind of crazy because he had so many small mistakes in that run, but he got 11:49. That's still an amazing race time. And it's the second 11:49 he's gotten today. And it's unfortunate that KB wasn't able to win with that race, but he's going to have to just try it again in the next race. And if he does as well and Carcass just messes up a little bit more, he could take the next one.
Unbelievable. So we saw it there. Arcus made the adjustment needed and decided to skip that tail kill. Again, that was exactly how that had to happen for him. I mean, cutting the tail there would have put him too far behind. Those are incredibly good races on both. An 11:44, 11:49. I mean, KB is just running absolutely lights out. He's just really turning on the heat tonight. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it really is. And that is by far the best two performances we have seen from two people racing each other throughout the entire tournament. Two people with 11.4x. It definitely hasn't happened yet up until this point. I don't think it happened in the first match.
We got to keep in mind, it might even be for KB. It might even be a 48. He was saying in the room that it looked like a 48 because he split a little bit late on race time, but his PB is 11:44. I mean, he's 4 or 5 seconds off of his PB in a race in a no sit reset environment. That's unbelievable. And not only that, but this is not the first time tonight that he's done that. That's incredible. He's really putting the pressure on Arcus, which is what he needs to do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is that KB's PB is 11:44, but he is absolutely capable of even lower. So it's not too surprising that he's able to play so closely to his PB, because he is just a really good player with a lot of potential past 11:44. You can get a low 11:40 for sure if he keeps grinding. So not too surprising that he's playing so well. Everyone knows how good KB is, how consistent he is. He's known for racing, has done more races than Arcus, at least on race time. So it's not too surprising to see him level up at this point in the NRL.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got so many races under his belt. This is a walk in the park for him. Speaking of 11:44s, while we're setting up the second race here, just want to mention real quick, right now we have a 4-way tie for 11:44 on SRC. We've got Knucklebuster with an 11:44 and 100 milliseconds. Becco is 237 milliseconds. Moose, sir, how many frames did you miss the Becco PB by? Was it like 2?
Yeah, so I was 1 frame away from tying him and 2 frames away from bopping him. So
wow, that's crazy. And of course, Black Squall also with an 11:44. There's some really awesome ninjas all tied at the famous Becco PB. I feel like 11:44 is such a sticky number for Ninja Gaiden. I don't know what it is about. It's like everybody has to hit that wall at some point in Ninja Gaiden. I'm not sure anybody's ever been able to skip 11:44.
Yeah, that's what people told me too. Lane got stuck at that time. Again, being frames away from bopping Becco before eventually doing it with 11:43. And I heard that Retro Runner back in the day also just barely missed the Becco bop. So it's weird. It's something about it. It makes it difficult to beat first time. And yes, I'm only a little bit salty that I missed the bop, because the reality is you watch my run and I have some really stupid mistakes. So I very easily could have bopped him, but I didn't. And that's okay. For now anyways. But yeah, it's crazy. 4 11:44s, we're all there together. Thankfully it's not a 4-way tie, because the milliseconds count, which I'm happy about. I don't miss being tied with so many people, which did happen sometimes before I got to 11.4x.
Indeed. Isn't it is it 11:48 is when they start, or is it sub 11:50 maybe is when they start milliseconds now?
Yeah, so 11:50. Yeah, so 11:50 when they. It's fun. You know why? The best part about it is I can justify going for strats that only say 0.1, because now it actually matters. That's the way I justify it in my head.
Indeed, right. That makes sense. Yep. All right, looks like we got everybody in the new race room, just getting everybody readied up and going here.
So I will say one narrative today about KB has been the egg spinning. And after messing up the setup in one of his previous races, he did not go for it in this first race. wouldn't be surprised if he decided to change his mind and not go for it. But KB is somewhat volatile sometimes, and he can just do things that are unexpected. I mean, he went for fast B fob in his third race with Retro Runner, so KB could just change his mind and decide to go for something else at any point. So at this point, I don't really know what to expect for him. For all I know, he could go for butt clinch clip this race, like who knows. But because he did lose, if he is going to change his mind on anything, I would assume that, I don't know, he could go faster just because he knows he was behind Arcus. But in my mind, if I'm being honest, I know that KB did his best possible time just now. And so the reality is he may not need to change anything because he just needs to hope that Arcus doesn't tie his own PB basically at this point.
Right, exactly. He just said in the race chat, I knew I should have went for Eggs Benny. He's just pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, I would have saved him about half a second, if I remember correctly. Eggs Benny is how much that saves. Not enough to win, but definitely would have been a little bit faster for sure. If he had gotten it. It's important to say, obviously, it's not a free strat by any means. But I don't know, some of these runners that do it just make it look so easy, so.
Indeed. All right, just put out the 60-second warning, so we should be going here again pretty shortly. Again, this is a best of 3 match, so if Arcus wins this next race, it's all over. That's it. KB has got the pressure on him now. He's got to win this next match to force a third race. So we'll see how this goes. I expect, like you said, if I'm KB right here, I'm just trying to recreate my last run. I can't imagine asking for a whole lot more than 11:49. That's a lot of pressure to put on Arcus. Arcus really has to perform well, and it forces him again to skip the tail, to really to pull out as many of those fast strats that he can to try to keep up.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? One thing that we didn't mention about Arcus off the bat is that last year he got 4th place in NRL after losing to Retro Runner in the 3rd place in match, or 3rd place race. And the thing is, like, Arcus obviously being such a legend in the game, I think a lot of people would expect him to get better than 4th place. But the reality is last year he was not grinding the game when we did NRL. This year it's different. He's been on a grind for months at this point. He's very, very warmed up. And so I think none of us are surprised to see him fighting for the championship, to be the champion in the NRL 2022. And so it's cool to see him here. It's cool to see him living up to expectations. But without further ado, I think the second race is going to start any second now. And I think everyone wants to see race 3. I know I do.
Yeah, this I know Arcus doesn't, but if we get a race 3, I won't hate it. that's for sure. The more Ninja Gaiden we get to watch, the better. And that's a really great point, again, to say about Arcus. Last year, wasn't grinding the game, sort of just decided to come in and race with us. It was completely unexpected that he did that. And huge GGs to him for that. That's a really, can you, the sort of, you got to put your ego behind you in order to race a game against the best in the world, with Arcus's name recognition in this game, when you're not even grinding the game. The humility in order to do that is just incredible, and to pull out a 4th place finish from that is also incredible. I mean, that he beat a lot of really, really fast ninjas on almost no notice, without much practice or grinding at all. I think he was playing another game during the week and then practicing on weekends, essentially. So a huge performance from him last year, even though a 4th place finish from somebody you would imagine would be on the podium.
Yeah, you said something that was pretty good. You said you got to put your ego behind you in that situation. Well, the thing is, if you don't have an ego to begin with, there's nothing to put behind you. I think that's the case with Arcus. He's a very humble guy.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he was, if I remember right, he was grinding Ninja Gaiden 2 at the time.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Going for that sub 10 Ninja Gaiden 2 at the time. I do remember that. While we're talking, these two are putting on a great race so far. nothing weird happening in Act 1 this time. No lazy Typhon, no bad patterns in other areas. So that's good. And going into 2-2 here, they should be safe from the troll hammer bro at the beginning of 2-2, which is good. And it doesn't matter because they both go for the early swag star strat, so they would be mostly safe from that bad hammer bro. And we see they're both going to be getting a good free fall as well. And so they're on a great pace right now. I really hope, again, to see 2 11-4Xs would be just incredible.
It is so cool watching them go through the stage almost completely in sync. I mean, look at this. They are just... It's like we have 2 of the same screen up. It's so cool looking. I absolutely love it when this happens. I mean, just not all the competitiveness aside, getting to see, 2 runs in total sync like this is just really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they got the same exact hammer bro pattern there at the end, the second one. It looks to be exactly the same. If not, it could have been about 2 frames off. So, but yeah, really, really close. The hammer bros are perhaps imperceptibly different, but they look very similar. Yeah. So they're very close to being tied to the frame at this point.
Yeah, basically the same global timer that as far as what we can expect here. And yet again, still in sync going into 3-1, throwing the star, picking up the flame. They use the same strat there, which is a safe strat because you take out basically all your enemies there with that sort of up flame. It allows you to move through there. There's several different strats to go through there, but that's probably the safest one. And we would have some things be in sync, but as you can see, KB, as some people have pointed out, ADD runner likes to jump and slash quite a bit in between. And it looks like he's going to go for the double bird boost here. Oh, but he takes a hit there. He's not going to be able to get it.
Gonna miss it, so that's a small time loss. Not only missing double bird boost, but also taking the knockback. But he's also not gonna do bumble tumble. But I think he's gonna pause here. Yeah, he's gonna pause. Got a favorable pattern from the dude at the bottom and was able to jump over him very easily.
Yeah, I think the difference between using the bumble tumble and missing the bird boost there equalize them out, and they both get the standard kill, and it looks like we're gonna go into 4-1 almost completely back in sync again. This is incredible. It's just like watching a mirror. It is so cool to see.
Yeah, it's really cool, and we see that KB got the standard kill finally in a race, and it was slightly slower than Arcus. Arcus did have a slightly faster standard kill, but they both got it, which is really good. And they both get
KB using that pause strat, both got the bat boost. Very nice. Oh, both having some issues on climbs there, it looked like. Arcus had a bad climb and got set back, but KB did too. KB probably spent half that ladder not climbing, and they, again, perfect sync going into 4-2. They come down off the screen looking exactly the same. This is pretty crazy. It's interesting to watch them use different strategies and get different patterns and have different amounts of success, and then still end up, basically in sync with each other. Arcus, it looked like, took a small knockback there, so I think he's actually going to be marginally behind KB at this point, but not by much.
Yeah, at some point, someone's got to make a small mistake, and then the sync is going to be ruined, but they're still very, very close. It's anyone's race, obviously. And I'm guessing out of Act 4, they're still going to be very close, because Act 4 is a relatively easy stage, and I think they're both going to play pretty well. Just
an aside, I'm seeing some talk in chat, and I have to agree, as far as syncs go, Backstreet Boys takes the win there. We're here at the NRL, that's our official stance on the NSYNC Backstreet Boys issue.
Okay. So like I said, Act 4 is relatively easy, especially for top runners, I should say. And what they're going to do is they're going to come up here with no spin slash, so they're going to have to hope that the hammer gives them a good pattern. Yeah, and they both got a good pattern, which is not surprising since they are on similar global timers. That's not surprising that they would get a good pattern there. KB, I think, got a Stanley slash there before he spun, but he's all good.
And again, lots of different ways to get through here. They've had different strats and different sort of successes and knockbacks, but they are pretty much completely back in sync again going into 5-1. And both looking, I didn't even see, did they even go for that manip? I don't think they even tried for it there.
Yeah, I know KV didn't. I think based on the split they had, it wasn't a bad hammer bro. They definitely should have done it, but they might have messed it up. Neither of them got it. But KB, I will say, is technically on PB pace. I don't remember what his split was in Act 4 for his PB, but it's a very good split. The split that he got just now for Act 4 was very good. So he probably won't PB, but what I'm saying is that this is a very good run for him in terms of his
Indeed.
PB, and obviously good for Arcus as well.
He had some difficulty at the beginning of 5-1, but then he got the double bird boost, and Arcus didn't get it, or didn't go for it rather, and so again they ended the stage relatively around the same time.
Yeah, the sync it's great. I mean, we're just gonna keep talking about it until it stops being synced because of how impressive it is. And
yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a run go this deep into a Ninja Gaiden race and be this in sync with each other. I don't think this has ever happened. We've had it go like several stages, but so far it's been almost the entire game this way.
Yeah, unfortunately, KB missed a Janet boost, so that's going to ruin it a bit, but it's still so close. We saw that last race, Arcus played through 5-3 so hard. Arcus took a death. He took a death. He
that's
got
not a
greedy
bad
with the
death
times.
to take. He's still in it. I mean, that's a quick death, but he's going to have to go through 5-3 low percent.
Yeah, we'll see how much he knows with low percent. We know that he ran it, but that was a long time ago, and he hasn't been practicing low percent, I don't think. What's he gonna do? Oh, the runner didn't show up. The runner did not show up. We thought Edo do the backup by respawning the runner, and Arcus was not able to make him respawn. I think he hasn't been practicing low percent. I mean, he made it through relatively fine until that point. Wow,
yeah,
that's game changer.
That backup runner just didn't spawn for him, and the biggest loss here, you know, that death might have cost in of itself 4 seconds or so, but the biggest loss is right here. Arcus can't mult. He's got to sit here and slash his way through him, and that cost you probably a good 10 or 11 seconds.
Yeah, and he's getting nervous here. He messed up the mash timing. When you're trying to Stanley slash like that, if you try to mash as quickly as possible, you're gonna miss mashes. You have to actually time it properly in order to kill those bosses quickly. And that was a very slow mouth kill, so that was not very good. And he's gonna get a chance to catch up if KB makes a big mistake, but so far KB is not slowing down. And I have to say that death that he took there was so unfortunate because the reality is it's so much easier to just not climb on those tiny ladders. If you don't climb, you're losing like 0.1. It's ridiculous how much time you lose by not climbing. And unfortunately, I think clipped the ladder and just fell right into the pit. So that was a really unfortunate death to take for sure.
So KB is 19 seconds ahead. I saw him go into 6-2 at 9:11, and Arcus went in at 9:30. So it should be about a 19-second differential between the two of them at this point.
Yeah, and KB did what he needed to do. He just needed to play clean and wait for Arcus to make a mistake. And now he just needs to finish out the race, doesn't need to do anything crazy, and he is going to win this race if he just manages not to die or lose too much time.
Yeah, you see there, he decided to not go for the eggs Benny, as he jokingly said he should have in the last race. I don't know if he's monitoring the stream or not, but if he is, he's got to feel pretty good about his chances at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And he's not going to get the low bird here. He's going to get the normal bird, no problem. A little bit of mess up on the spicy pickle, but yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. He just needs to make it to the bosses and get this run over with. I think he's going to have it in the bag here, unless something crazy happens on Demon.
Yeah, this is a big enough differential that if he knows that Arcus is this far behind him, he should be just going for a very standard Jackio kill and then cutting the tail on the demon and just ending it in the safest way possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Got the clown nose for KB. Arcus on the last screen of 6-3 now, going for fast B fob. Having some trouble with it, and his health is incredibly low. He took a death. Wow. Oh, this is KB's race to win.
Yeah, he went for the fast beef, which I can't fault him for doing, to be honest, but I think he wasn't ready to do it, and he died, and that's what happens. I blame him for doing it because he was so far behind, but unfortunately it cost him another death.
KB looking to skip the tail, and wow, that's a really fast demon kill. What a great time for KB. I think that's like a mid-11s. I mean, was it like 11:45, 11:46? That's like a second or two off of a personal best time. That's an incredible run.
According to our broadcast room, that's about 11:46 from KB. That's incredible. He deserves this moment so much. He's the one that should have advanced. Obviously, he didn't do amazing in round 2, but it's so clear now that he was the one that had the best chance of doing well in the final 4. Super big GGs to him. Such an incredible race. And I mean, if he had done that in the first race, he still would have lost, which is kind of the crazy part. But we had said he just needed to perform in this race and wait for Arcus to make a mistake, and that's what happened, and he ended up winning. And Arcus getting a 12:30 with 2 deaths is not too shabby either, if we're being honest. So pretty cool.
Indeed. Unbelievable. I can't believe. I mean, 11. I mean, we've seen PBs in the NRL before during races, which, as I've said before, is the ultimate swag move, in my opinion. Just to be able to do that in a race in a no reset run type environment is unbelievable. But to do it to get that close at that level, I mean, this is like, you're talking top 5. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just he's absolutely on fire today.
This is his day, and you know what? Just with how he has been, he deserves to win all of it. He really does. And unfortunately, he still has to earn it, right? You know, he still has to beat Arcus one more time. But in terms of like just the overall performance today, he seems to have done the best if you look at average race time and whatnot. So I think the chat seems to really be behind KB at this point, just because of how amazing he's played today. I know a lot of people like Arcus for good reason. He's a great person and great runner. And they couldn't be happier that we're going to a 3rd race. This is going to be really exciting to see. Can KB pull out a great time one more time to finally put the NRL to an end and go home with the championship?
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we asked for, isn't it? We got what we asked for, a 3rd and final race here. This is going to be the decider. And unbelievable. This is great. This is exactly what we wanted and what we asked for. I'm really hyped to see this. Arcus in chat already saying one more, telling KB good luck. We're gonna get them readied up and we're gonna go here in a couple minutes. But KB Fireback saying, I just want it to be over.
Saying that sentiment, awesome. I really do.
Yep. Indeed.
I don't even know what to say about this last race. I mean, I know that at this point, like, they should feel confident in their strats and what they've decided to do going in. They've put up some great times. They just need to perform. Argus just needs to be a little bit more careful on those 5-3 ladders, maybe. And then obviously, the only reason he died a second time was because he was behind. So I don't think he needs to worry about that. He knows that if he can just avoid that unfortunate death, that very avoidable death, that he will be fine and he can remain confident in his ability to win this last race. And obviously, KB has been doing so well. I mean, I can't even say anything about what he needs to do. You know what I mean? He just needs to keep it up. Just keep doing what you've been doing all night. I know he's probably like kind of worn out at this point, just so much stress, I believe, that he's probably under right now, but I'm just looking forward to it. I can't wait to see how this last race goes.
Indeed. I can't, there's so much pressure on this last race. In fact, he just asked for 2 minutes, so we're going to give him a minute to get what he needs to do done and prepare for this last race, and then we'll get it underway. Which is going to give me, I guess, some time here to pontificate about NRL and racing. And you had started off the broadcast talking about the the stream where I kind of went on a rant about about my opinion of leaderboards, and Ninja Gaiden, as well as some other games, lends itself really, really well to racing and tournaments. And we just ended up talking a lot about tournaments and racing and the sort of environment that creates. It brings everybody together. It spurs a lot of growth in the game and a lot of talent and individual growth for all the runners. And this year has been no exception. It's been so much fun to see. And this year, what was cool about this year as well is we got to put 40 runners in this year. One of the things that we did when we talked about creating the NRL, one of the main principles was putting as many of the runners on screen as possible. There are easier and faster ways to conduct a really, really big tournament with lots of runners. You can do it with 40 runners in a single day if you want. The issue is that you can't put them all on screen at one time, and we wanted to highlight every runner that was part of it, which means we had to do group stages. This is the fourth day, the fifth day if you count the qualifiers to get in. So but it was really cool to get so many runners through this year, and to see so many different new faces who did unbelievably well. So just a big shout out to everybody taking part in this, the runners, race mods behind the scene. We had some new guys do that this year. Really huge help. We could not do it without y'all. Everybody who's contributed, from music and logos and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, Seamless. When I was on my rant, Seamless basically said, I said I would love to see more races and tournaments or whatever, and Seamless was the one that said, I can make that happen. If you are serious, I will do it with you, and I will make it happen for you. And he did exactly that. He stood up to his word. We got together and put it all together. So a huge thank you to Seamless, and of course to all of y'all that are out there viewing this. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. This is it's awesome to have everybody here and to see the racers and to highlight them and their skills and talents. And thank you so much for being here. So also thank you for listening to yet another one of my soapboxes. I'm gonna go get the 60-second warning on these racers. KB is readied up, and we're about to go to this third and final race. Pensive. This is gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about the soapbox rant that Fab first went on is that we actually have access to that VOD still. I had the pleasure of getting to rewatch it recently, and I was in chat, but back then I was like a 12-4x runner or something like that. And so I was just like watching these guys hash at it, figure out how they're going to do it. And I was not as involved in the community at the time. I was honestly probably focusing on practice while I was in that stream. But yeah, I had the pleasure of rewatching that VOD, just seeing where it all started, and super happy to see where it's come. Fab already said a lot of things that I totally agree with, just supporting the community and showing everyone, getting them exposure, and just giving them the ability to show what they're made of and compete is really, really cool, for sure. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate it. I don't know, just so many things that we wanted to do, and so many ideas that we had that ended up coming to life in this. It's been really, really cool to see, and I'm so thankful that everybody that's pitched in on it. We've gotten so much help, and last year we had no idea what we were getting into. We thought we were going to do this quite often. We were going to have races, like a league throughout the year, and we learned very quickly that we were in over our heads, and this is a huge undertaking. We were very lucky that we got bailed out by so much help. So that was instrumental in doing this, but just that we've been able to get just so much support for everybody and put this on, and to all the runners for taking part in it. It's almost a month-long event at this point, something that they all have to prepare for, and to get everybody on board to do this, to showcase this game, and to have to have a way to compete with each other directly outside of leaderboards and to where we can bring each other together as a community and all do this together is really, really cool. It's fun to watch and see, and it's culminating in, I mean, this is going to be one of the most hype races that's ever been seen in the NRL. These runners are all over it today. And wow, KB getting chewed up though early on in 1-1. And this is it. This is for all the marbles. Who wins this race is going to be the champion, the 2022 NRL champion, and that sticks forever. Those championships, BFOB won it last year. He will forever and always be the 2021 NRL champion. And whoever wins this race right here takes it home forever.
So KB is trying to improve in his performance last year. Getting second in 2021 is wanting to get first this year. And it's going to be so huge to see him do it, if I'm being honest, because last year when he got second, his PB was only 11:53, and so he overperformed big time, just playing so well in the first NRL. And he's just, and the reason why is because he's so consistent and so good at racing, and he's had so much experience with it. And so I would say this year he hasn't really overperformed. I think we all kind of expected that he could easily make it to finals once again. But I would love to see him win. I think a lot of people want Argus to win too, and I totally understand that because he is so good. But man, KB is being the underdog. It's so easy to root for him for sure.
Indeed, indeed. You know, I don't know. I love watching both of these runners personally. I would be happy with either of them winning. To be honest with you, I'm just really stoked to get to watch this run, and I want to see him earn it. I hope that it's a good run, most of all. And so far, so good. KB having some difficulty. He's having some difficulty with his shooter as well, though. Having to pause there for the bullets, but making it through. I don't know. I'd probably put him 3 or 4 seconds behind at this point. But again, getting knockbacks there, getting the fire shield.
Yeah, the nerves might be getting to him finally. After all the good races, the nerves might be getting to him. But the reality is, he has so much. He has so many opportunities to make up time. Truly, especially depending on how well Arcus plays. So he shouldn't be too worried about it. He should continue to play and recognize that he could easily win this race still.
Yeah, Arcus with a 228 door. Let's see what KB goes in about 233. So about 5-second differential between the two at this point.
Yeah, that's not too terrible. I think Bathiker would be a good place to make up some time if Arcus doesn't have a good Bathiker. But there's not, I mean, unless outside of a death, there's not too many ways to lose a lot of time in Act 3 besides messing up Bathiker. Unless they miss the star throw, which I highly doubt will happen. I don't want to jinx it. Please get it, KB. Okay, we're good. KB got it too. That was really concerned.
Almost the commentator's curse on that one. Watch out.
That would have been the worst possible commentator's curse. Missing that star after so many people have gotten it all NRL.
Yeah, you're right. We haven't had anybody miss it tonight, that's for sure. Both runners moving into 3-2 now. See if Arcus looks like he's going to set up that double bird boost again. It looks like KB's going to try to set it up as well. Yeah, he looks like he's going for it. I thought I saw him earlier kill the bird, and I wondered if that was just a... Oh, wow! It looked like he tried to throw the fire there and killed the bird in the process. Is that what you saw, Moose, as well?
He threw the flame and killed the bird, but don't ask me why. I have absolutely no idea why he did that. My only guess is that he didn't like the pattern. I think it was going to work. But for some reason he opted to kill the bird instead. I have no idea why, but that's what happened. And he got the standard kill, which is good.
Both runners getting a standard kill there.
Okay.
Yeah, they both got it, so that should leave them basically where we left them last. I think they should be about 5 seconds between the two of them at this point still. We'll find out when they screen transition. Arcus using that top route, getting the bat boost, booming through Awe. Looks like KB as well getting it, and good climbs from Arcus. Let's see how KB does on this long ladder. Good climbs as well there. Gets that bird boost. KB was actually the runner that taught me how to do that bird boost. That's why we call him the professor on occasion.
Nice. Yeah, I think KB lost some time on the ladder there compared to Arcus, which is a problem. But you know, if you lose time to your competitor on the ladder, it's probably not going to be by much. You should be looking to save time in other ways. Super aggressive hammer bros for KB.
Wow.
No problem with Spin Slash. He's going to do it low percent.
Yeah, he double spun, but he knows what he's doing here.
Yeah, having a double spin is rare. It's very rare to have to do that. It really is.
That is a very interesting hammer bro pattern. You don't see that often at all. Good way to deal with it though. Very, very good backup there from KB. He knows that low percent route well.
Yeah, for sure. Not that many people know how to do that. And I don't know why he opted not to do the boost at the beginning of 4-3. Which is a very strange decision. I think he might have just messed it up or something, but he just spun through both of the Titans and didn't take that boost. Kind of a strange decision.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that there either. I just assumed maybe he accidentally hit an extra input. You can see him having trouble climbing that wall though, losing some time there. I wonder if you're right. I wonder if just nerves are starting to get the best of him here. I mean, this is such a big match, and he's performed so well all throughout this, this final round. It's got to be difficult to keep that up.
Yeah, for sure. It absolutely is. And for Arcus, it's a little bit easier for him to keep it up, I guess, just having played the game so much longer. But we'll see if Arcus has any deaths. If he dies, then KB could catch up, and we have a close race once again. The race is not over. I know Arcus has somewhat of a lead, but anything could happen here for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's still well within striking distance for KB. Arcus isn't out of the woods yet by any means. As he transitions out of 5-1, so looks like a 6:56 time on that transition. We'll see what Knucklebuster ends up at as he transitions out. Looks like 7:06, so about a 10-second differential between KB and Arcus at this point.
Yeah, so I mean, Arcus just keeps playing clean. He's not making any mistakes. I noticed him. I guess I watched his streams to kind of see like what exactly the strats he would be doing. I guess I didn't notice this, but he seems to not be going for the double bird boost in 5-1 at all. Even with the good pattern, he's opting to kill the bird with the 5-star. He's done it every race, I think. And so he's opting to play it safe. Getting knocked back from Janet, the Janet boost here, but not getting hit by the bird again after getting knocked back is really important. You don't want to take 6 hits from Janet. That's really bad. And KD's going to save some time by getting Janet, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah, he's going to be. He definitely made up time on that screen for sure. It's a good point, and maybe you can tell me, Pensive, but we had talked earlier about there are certain strats in this game where no matter what you do, how you execute them, the game can give you a pattern that'll just kill you and take you out. And my understanding is that 5-1 bird boost is one of those. Is that correct? Where that bat can just spawn in a way that you can't necessarily take out every single time, even with a cancel?
I think it's possible, but I think it's more dependent on when exactly you jump. I think if you jump on the right spot, you're going to be good most of the time. But I couldn't say. So
just more of a difficult strat rather than just something that's that's error. I guess something that's error prone or difficult rather than something where that's uncontrollable.
Yeah, exactly. If you jump too early on the top platform, the bat is going to spawn in a really awkward position. If you jump late on the platform, the bat will be right where you need it to be. And so typically when people die from the bat, it's because the bat is in an awkward position and they cancel it late. I got some word from the broadcast room that Arcus was 0.3 ahead of his PB in Act 5, and he was maintaining that pace more or less until he missed Janet. So Arcus is popping off right now, and I think although KB's making some mistakes, the reality is if Arcus gets another time close to KB's PB, then KB's gonna have to say, "BG's, man, I did all I could." You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed. It looks like KB has closed some of that gap. We had a 10-second gap earlier, and I think he's probably around 6 or 7 at this point, but Arcus still a pretty comfortable lead about midway through 6-2 right now. Looks like he's going to spin this hammer. We'll see how this ladder goes. Good job on the ladder.
Super solid. KB missed the jetpack ninja boost. He did it. He did the setup in a really awkward way so that you don't actually grab the ladder. I think that's the sort of thing that happens when you're in a race. You try to do things in a safer way, and you end up doing them completely wrong. He wasn't close to dying at all, but he did grab the ladder, so he lost time. He got
Wow. Wow. Unbelievable. So I was looking at the screen transition times. It looks like KB is about 8 seconds behind Arcus at this point. So importantly, 8 seconds, probably not enough time to justify killing the tail for Arcus. It's not given to him at this point. If he decides to cut the tail as he did before, he might give KB the ability to catch up and take the win from him, depending on how these last few screens go.
Yeah, I think at this point, Arcus knows just how close. He knows that he needs to not cut the tail, but we'll see what happens. I think KB went for fast bebop, which again, he doesn't usually go for. Here we go, Arcus going into the bosses. This is for NRL 2022 champion. Let's see if Arcus is able to pull it off. His bosses have been better than KB so far. Let's see if he can keep it up. Not a good start. Okay, he needs a backup. Oh, he gets a quick backup. With 3 hits on that last jump from the center, that is not very easy to do, but he's able to pull it off. And KB getting a 2.5.
Yep, nice.
KB, that's the best he can do, but it's not fast enough.
All right, Arcus skipping the tail. Looks like he's got really good rhythm there. Arcus is taking it down. Arcus is our 2022 NRL champion, ladies and gents. Wow.
I think that was about a 5-jump rich kill right there. Obviously still very, very fast. And that makes Arcus our champion. And KB finishing with a time of around 11:56, which means KB still had a really good race, but Arcus is just too consistent. Dude has too much experience. He's able to just have a lot fewer mistakes than KB and is able to take NRL 2022. Huge GGs for Arcus.
Indeed. Arcus with an 11:44 in that run. That's an excellent race. I mean, that is an unbeatable time right there. Nearly. That's KB's PB run right there. Arcus really solidified that win. And there you see the final standings. Arcus taking first place, KB with second, Retro Runner with third. Those are some really awesome names to see on the podium. This has been absolutely awesome. That's a great standing. Knucklebuster, and interestingly, Knucklebuster taking second last year as well. Our third place finisher and our second place finisher the same as they were last year.
That's true, and you know what? We talked about how consistent KB is. Even though he didn't win today, the reality is he's done the best out of everyone in terms of placement every year. Arcus getting 4th last year and 1st this year, but KB getting 2nd in both years has just been a little bit more consistent, you could say, even versus Arcus, who's the winner this year. But man, we talk about how much KB leveled up his gameplay today for the finals. The reality is Arcus also leveled up his gameplay, just getting faster times than he had ever previously done in NRL, getting 2 11:44s. He didn't even get 4x before today. And a big part of that is because he didn't kill the tail, but also he just continued to play very consistently, and he was able to just get times that KB, man, he can't beat that. KB has to feel so proud of himself. He's got to feel really happy with that, I think.
Indeed. Arcus it's almost like he left it in reserve. He just was running as consistent a races as he could. And then when he had to pull out all the stops, when he had a competitor that he absolutely could not be consistent with, he just needed to run fast races with, he did it. He was able to just run fast races and stop killing the tail and skip it and take down KB. So huge GGs to Arcus and KB and all of our competitors. Thank you so much for everybody who's taken part in this. Again, runners, race mods, everybody who's contributed, from music to commentary, and of course everybody out there, all y'all that have chosen to spend your Saturday with us watching. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. I think we're gonna go raid Arcus. That seems like that seems like an appropriate place to go. What do you think, Moose?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, good deal. Thank you again for being here, y'all. Thank you, Pensive Moose, for being here in the broadcast booth with me. This is a really great night. It's been really fun, and I appreciate your help taking on this commentary job. Again, 2022 champion, NRL, Arcus. We're gonna go do a champ raid. Y'all have a great night. Thank you for being here. See you next time.